Music doesn't stop. You can keep listening to this show online. Just open up the WFUV app or head to WFUV.org.
The Fordham Football Rams are back in action at home. This time, it's Parents' Weekend, a family affair this afternoon in the Bronx. The Rams, coming off losses in their last two matchups, are looking to get back on track. In order to get back in the win column, Coach Joe Conlon, James Conway, and their Rams have to climb a Lehigh-sized mountain. Their opponent this afternoon, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, are undefeated this season at 7-0. Coach Cahill and his squad look to make it 3 games unbeaten in the conference this season. Lehigh also tries to extend their 12-game regular season win streak this afternoon at Moglia Stadium. The hosting Rams are looking to win their second game in the conference after only 23 points of offense the last 2 weeks. QB Gunnar Smith and his guys want to score, and they want to score early. It's the FCS's number 7 team, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks, and the hosting Fordham Rams. And it's next on WFUV Sports. Welcome in to Moglia Stadium, a beautiful day on the beautiful campus of Fordham University. It's Parents' Weekend here in the Bronx. We're going to get you set for this Patriot League football matchup in front of us between the hosting Fordham Rams and the undefeated traveling Mountain Hawks of Lehigh. Chris Carrino here, joined by my partner Brendan Shorey. Brendan, quite possibly Fordham's biggest challenge in the conference this season, a tall task for a team trying to get on the right track.
Yeah, Chris, Fordham coming off back-to-back losses here after a win over Holy Cross 3 games ago, and they come into this game against a Lehigh team who's coming in undefeated, 7-0 overall, but a very difficult task for Fordham today.
Very difficult task. We got to catch up with head football coach of Fordham, Joe Conlon, before the game. Take a listen now. Taking you live before Fordham and Lehigh with head Fordham football coach, Coach Joe Conlon. Coach, a loss last week, 2 losses in your last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, you guys have struggled offensively in a way where you didn't struggle in your win against Holy Cross. How do you get back on the right track offensively, just in general?
Yeah, I mean, we got to do a better job protecting the quarterback, especially on first and second down. We got to give Gunnar time to throw first and second down on some of the play action stuff we're doing and things like that. And then obviously got to run the ball with consistency, which we did at times, but then we had some good runs called back. Just didn't stay ahead of the sticks enough in a game like, we knew it was going to be against a team like Dartmouth.
Coach, Lehigh comes into this one 7-0 on the season, 2-0 in conference play. What kind of is the mentality or mindset going into a game against a team that's undefeated?
Well, obviously, they're playing good football. They run the ball well. They play good defense. And they have 21 sacks on the year, so they have the ability to get to the quarterback out of a 4-man rush. And obviously, some of those are coming from situations where they're ahead late and they know the offense is throwing. So, you got to stay in the fight, stay close, and try to limit their run game as best you can while running the football effectively.
What's the week in and week out goal for Gunnar? I mean, obviously improvement is something you're working on every week and just him improving week in and week out. But what are the specific goals? Is it kind of using that pass game in cohesion with the run game? Is there anything like that, or it's more just improving week to week?
Yeah, I mean, we're RPO offense as many are right now.
Yeah.
So you have to put a lot on that kid's plate, and he's got to manage a lot of variables. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just continuing to see him master that piece of the offense and the rules involved with each of those plays as he gets more comfortable and kind of using his feet in the pocket and owning his protection. I think are all things that we want to see, improve week over week.
Yeah, and with CJ getting hurt last year, there was just ebbs and flows, trials and tribulations in that quarterback room last year. The consistency of Gunnar being there every week, that has to help and be an improvement.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously, we do feel like we have a very capable backup with Jack. But, to have consistency at that position, and obviously with the inconsistency at wide receiver in terms of personnel and who's been available, you need to have at least one of those positions be fixed or as fixed as you can make it. So that's been good.
Back here in the Bronx, thank you as always to Coach Joe Conlon. Coach Joe Conlon, facing one of his buddies today. Of course, Coach Cahill of Lehigh on that Yale staff with Coach Conlon, and the two friends playing each other today.
Yeah, the two friends playing each other, and one thing we asked Coach off the record was kind of what has been going on between the two discourse-wise, and they're 1-1 against each other. Chris, this is the rubber match, to be quite honest.
Yeah, absolutely, the rubber match. A lot of pride in between those two, and in between who's the winner and the loser. Setting the scene here in the Bronx. A beautiful day, Brendan. Had word throughout the week it might be a little colder today. End up getting just a beautiful day. The sun's out. The trees changing color now in our fall season. There is about an infinite amount of tents in that parking lot overlooking the football field. Parents' Weekend, a very popular event here for them. Yeah, very popular event, and it's back-to-back weekends now, Chris. Last weekend, homecoming, a lot of buzz around campus for that, and then this weekend, Parents' Weekend, the buzz stayed around campus, and you still see a lot of people out in the parking lot, still tailgating, still trickling into the stadium as well. It's going to be the Fordham Rams to kick this one off this afternoon. They win the toss. They decide to defer. The kickoff kicker will be Bennett Henderson for this Fordham team. The sophomore has been starting kicker and place kicker for this team all season long. Fordham in their all-maroon home outfit, white letters, 58 degrees, perfectly sunny in the Bronx this afternoon. Lehigh, the traveling team in all white with black letters. Henderson kicking it off from the 35. That one will be caught inside the 5 and ran out. Past the 20, finally taken down right around the 30. Got out of the box quickly, and that's a decent start for the Lehigh offense. Yeah, Jaden Green, the guy there on that return, one of these guys that has been so good for this Lehigh offense so far this year, and a good return sets Lehigh up with good field position. Yeah, past the 30, that's how they'll start this drive. Brendan, the first thing you have to talk about when discussing this Lehigh offense is the run game. They run the darn ball, and they run the ball well. Between this offensive line and their running back room, they just seem to have stars everywhere. Yeah, between quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 guys on this team averaging over 6 yards a carry, just an insane stat that really backs up a very good run game, Chris. It's Hayden Johnson, the quarterback, in the shotgun to start this one off. 1st and 10, ball on the Fordham 32, or ball on the Lehigh 32. Hayden Johnson in the shotgun. Yoder directly behind him. Receivers on both sides. Takes the snap. Hands off. Yoder gets through a hole down the near sideline. Finally pushed out of bounds at the 50. And a first down. And that's that run game, Brendan, already. Yeah, right on cue. Luke Yoder there, the guy. These running backs, they're so quick. They have such good vision. Luke Yoder there showing it, finds the hole on the outside, and takes it up for the big gain on the very first play from scrimmage. Big first offensive play for Lehigh. The second team all-PL player, quick out of the backfield there. He'll stay in the backfield to the left of his quarterback, Hayden Johnson. Johnson once again in the shotgun. 2 receivers stacked to his left, 1 receiver to his right. Takes the snap, rolls out left, looks deep, finds his tight end, who catches it at the 35, past the 50, now firmly in Fordham territory. Yeah, great catch there, going to the ground and securing that one. Matt Davino there on the corner route catches that one for the first down. And Matt Davino, the sophomore, getting involved in this Lehigh offense. It's a committee. It's done by committee, this Lehigh offense. A lot of contributors everywhere, whether it's receivers, backs, linemen. Now ball at the 34, 1st and 10 once again. Johnson in the shotgun once again. Tight end in motion. Gives the handoff to Yoder. Defensive line of Fordham all over it in the middle. And that's a gain of 2 to 3. Yeah, a great job there by the Fordham defensive line. Getting pushed, getting off blocks from this Lehigh offensive line and getting that tackle after short yardage. It's going to be a 1-yard gain on that play, setting up 2nd and 9. Ball on the Fordham 33. Just over 10 yards to that red zone. 13-18 to go in this first quarter, just getting things started here in the Bronx. Johnson, same formation as last play. Shotgun with Yoder to his left. 3 receivers out wide. Johnson claps for the snap, drops back to pass. Completes a pass, near sideline. That was Mason Humphrey getting tackled immediately after the catch, and that'll set up first down, another first down for Lehigh. Yeah, Fordham brought pressure there on that play too. A couple of linebackers blitzing, but Johnson does a good job getting this ball out quickly to Humphrey on the outside for the first down. That's going to be a first down right on the precipice of the red zone for Lehigh. Johnson setting up in the shotgun once again. Yoder directly behind him. 1st and 10, ball on the 23. Johnson takes the snap, gives the handoff right up the middle. Yoder finds a hole. Finally taken down right after the 20. And that's around 4 to 5 yards on that play, setting up 2nd and short.
Yeah, another thing they do great here, these running backs for Lehigh, is they fall forward at the end of the run. They pick up that extra yard after contact.
Same 5 guys have started every game this season for that Lehigh offensive line. An undefeated season. Don't change what's not broke, right?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Chris.
Something like that, yeah. Nonetheless, it's 2nd down, 2nd and 6. Ball in the 19, now in the red zone. Johnson in the shotgun once again. Johnson takes the snap, hands it off up the middle once again. It's Jaden Green. Backup running back is swallowed. Tackled for a loss in the backfield. That's a good play for the Fordham defense. Get some mojo back.
Yeah, Fordham linebacker Andrew Osmond, the guy there, he gets through, breaks through this offensive line, closes that hole quickly, and makes the tackle.
First touch for Jaden Green on the afternoon. A dynamic 1-2 punch in that backfield. Green and Yoder. Yoder getting all the first 4 snaps of this first quarter. Green getting his first chance there. Yoder subbing off for Green once again. Yoder came on for Green and then subbed back off for him. Green to the left of Johnson, his quarterback. Hayden Johnson in the shotgun. Takes the snap, drops back to pass, looking end zone. Back right corner, just out of the reach of Joffrey Jamil. And that was very close to a major play for this Lehigh offense.
Yeah, and Jamil has been so good for this team this season. That one just out of reach, off of his fingertips. He tries to go up and get it with one hand, but isn't able to secure that one. And it looks like the Lehigh team will be sending out their field goal unit.
Yeah, after the incompletion there, it's 4th and 6. Lehigh will elect to take a field goal. It's Nick Garrido, the kicker, out there for Lehigh. Actually, have Joffrey Jamil, the star wide receiver, holding this kick. He's holding it right past the 25. Takes the kick, spotted well, right through the uprights. 3-0 Lehigh. They're on the board first after a pretty successful first drive.
Yeah, very successful first drive that, unfortunately for this Fordham defense, kind of stalled once they reached the red zone. That is honestly kind of a win here. If you're the Fordham defense, you're able to hold this Lehigh offense, this Lehigh powerful rushing attack to just 3 points on the first drive.
And specifically the run game of Lehigh, it seemed like Fordham was relatively able to regulate that run game in that first drive.
Yeah, and that's something that Coach Conlon kind of harped on. He said he's been harping on it all season long, is just the run game and the importance of both establishing it offensively, but also not letting teams establish it defensively. And it looks like Fordham, towards the end of that drive, was able to kind of key in on that run and stop it.
Kind of using that as a transition, the Fordham offense now going to take the field. Their run game talked about just as much, but for very different reasons. They in the one win Fordham had this season, 169 rushing yards in that one. In the last 2 weeks, they've combined for only 51, including some negative yards that Gunnar Smith has picked up. Just in general, this Fordham team, like Lehigh, always at their best when the run game is strong.
Yeah, and the run game sets up everything else as well. It opens up the field for the pass game. It allows you to take time off the clock, have long drives, give your defense rest, and it's just something that this Fordham team hasn't really seemed to kind of get going in a majority of their games this season.
Yeah, they haven't seemed to get it going when they did. As I said, they won that game against Holy Cross. Ricky Parks has picked up the starting role in that running back room the last couple of weeks. They've had Jamel James make major impacts, along with Johan Lee Lewis, who has kind of joined the running back room. He was more of a returner player to start the season, and Jacob Rodriguez, who we haven't seen much of. It's mostly been Jamel James and Ricky Parks.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the season, it was pretty much committee, those two guys, and then it looked as if Jamel James was going to take that bell cow kind of role where he was going to be the one, and then he goes down with an injury, and Ricky Parks steps up. And Ricky Parks was the guy in that Holy Cross game where they were able to run the ball effectively. But since then, since Jamel James has come back, it has gone back to the committee between both Parks and James.
And the quarterback of that unit, Gunnar Smith, quarterback for Fordham, leads the Patriot League in yards per game. He has 250 yards per game. So there seems to be a lot of volume. That volume seems to be getting better as the season goes along. Gunnar Smith, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this season. He's played every snap of the season so far. Maybe not the best numbers or the numbers ideally he would want, but not something you can truly wholeheartedly complain about.
No, and a couple of those interceptions came in that first game of the season at Boston College against a Power 4 opponent. But in terms of how Gunnar Smith has looked for the rest of the season since that game. He's looked good. He's made a few mistakes, but overall, he's looked pretty solid.
It's going to be Lehigh kicking it off to the Fordham offense. Connor Poole kicks it way far. Troy Worrell is back to receive it, picks it up on the goal line, and he runs it out. Past the 20, finally tackled in between the 25 and 20. Decent start for the Fordham Rams.
Yeah, and Worrell is a guy who is dangerous when he has the ball in his hands. That's what this Fordham team likes to do, get the ball in Worrell's hands and let him go make a play. Here, he's able to get a solid return and give Fordham some decent field position.
It's going to be first down for Gunnar Smith and his offense. Ball just past the 20, call it the 22, and that's where the offense will start. Gunnar Smith in the shotgun, Ricky Parks directly to his left. Jaden Allen, tight end, in a fullback role in the backfield. Two receivers stacked on the far sideline. Fake handoff. Smith has it, runs right near the far sideline, taken down in the backfield. That's going to be a loss of yards for Smith to start the drive.
Yeah, that one looked kind of like a read option there. Gunnar Smith elects to keep it. I don't know if that was exactly the right read. It looked like Ricky Parks may have had a couple of yards there to pick up.
It's going to be second down. It's going to be second and long, second and 11. Ball on the 23-yard line of Fordham. Smith in the shotgun once again. Now gives the handoff to Parks. Parks runs right up the middle, taken down right around the 25-yard line. That's going to be a pickup of right around 6 yards.
Yeah, and that makes it third and manageable. It's something that the Fordham team needs to do is stay ahead of the sticks.
Fordham wasting no time, no huddle. Immediately going into the third down, 3rd and 7. Ball on the Fordham 25. Smith looking to his sideline for direction. Multiple backup quarterbacks in neon hats giving Gunnar Smith signs. Parks directly to his left. Smith claps for the snap, drops back to pass, rolls right, and he's taken down. A sack, a blindside sack. What a play from this defensive line. It was Tyler Ohoyski, and that'll put the punting unit out there for the Fordham Rams. Freehold zone, Tyler Ohoyski.
This Lehigh defense has been so good this year getting to the quarterback. They come into this game 21 sacks on the year, and it's very spread out between a handful of defensive linemen, a handful of linebackers. Here they're able to do it just as well and get to the quarterback.
Will Hazlitt is out there to punt it deep in Fordham territory. Fordham gives Lehigh the ball back offensively. Tyler Ohoyski, 28 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks this season. That was his 4th of the year. He had a sack and forced fumble to seal their win against Columbia a few weeks ago. That's a bit of a squib kick from Hazlitt. It's taken out right around the 50, past the 40, past the 30, cuts back. Finally taken down by the punter, Will Hazlitt, at the 15. What a return for Lehigh.
A fantastic return. He takes it off a bounce as well. Goes right and finds holes, cutting through Fordham defenders, and is able to give Lehigh amazing field position to start.
That was Nick Peltekian. Nick Peltekian in the secondary, doesn't usually return kicks for this Lehigh team. Did a good job there.
Fantastic job there, Chris. There is a flag on the field, it looks like, though.
Seems like referee's pointing toward the Lehigh side. I believe that's going to be on Lehigh.
It does seem like it's going to be against Lehigh. One ref is holding out his foot, maybe running into the kicker.
Oh. It's going to be the Fordham defensive unit jogging out there, or the punt unit going back out.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to accept the penalty. They don't want to give Lehigh that amazing return there. They're going to repunt this one, Chris.
Yeah, so a redo on the punt for the Fordham Rams. Will Hazlitt not out there. Dominic Sansone, WFUV's own, out there to take the kick. Sansone seen action in game against Boston College this season. In conference play, not as much. He's getting an early play here. Sansone lets that one fly. A booming kick. Same returner on the play. Caught it at the 30, taken down at the 40, 10-yard return, and a nice tackle by Fordham. It was Justin Johnson stopping him right around the 40. That's where the Lehigh offense will start.
Yeah, and after that great return on the first punt, for this Fordham special teams unit had to make sure that they did not give Peltekian a good return on that second chance. They do so. Peltekian able to pick up about 10, but nowhere near as good starting field position as they had if that first punt, there were no flag.
And Brendan, now the Lehigh offense back out there. Seems like there's an injury. Someone walking off slowly for the Fordham Rams. His jersey scrunched up in the front. Hard to get a number. We'll check back in with you guys on who that is. as I was going to say, Lehigh offense going back out there, Brendan, we've harped on it already a bunch, talking about that run game, how successful that run game is. What's weird is 2 weeks ago, not including their bye, which was last week, and their win over Columbia, their leading rusher, their quarterback, Hayden Johnson, him and the backup quarterback, Matt Maholnick, seem to be as influential in that running game as the running backs for this squad.
Yeah, in that game, the running backs weren't able to get going to the extent as they weren't matching their season averages in terms of yards per carry. Yoder, 5.2 yards a carry that game. Jaden Green, only 2.2 yards a carry in that game. So, while still effective, not quite as effective as they had been all season. But, Chris, that just goes to show the depth they have in the run game.
Yeah, they have a massive amount of depth in the run game. And Hayden Johnson, also just from a quarterbacking perspective, has been very solid this season. 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his last 5 games. That is super, super impressive. Started the final 4 games last season, so kind of got warmed up into this system, into Coach Cahill and how he likes to do things, and he has seemed very comfortable this season.
Yeah, and he's very comfortable. He's very confident back there in the pocket, and if there's nothing that he sees that he likes downfield, he's so good at finding any hole there is in that offensive line and scrambling to pick up some yardage.
A couple streaks for this Lehigh team, 12-game regular season streak going back to last season, obviously undefeated this season, and also 27 straight games of 100 rushing yards or more. That streak goes all the way back to 2021. So there's a true consistency, Brendan, between this offense and how they run the ball.
Well, head coach Kevin Cahill is an offensive mind, a great offensive mind, and it's interesting to see the approach from this Lehigh team be the run game, considering he was a quarterback back in college. But with that offensive mind, you're able to scheme things up, get the run game going, and they've been so good historically over the past few years, Chris.
236 rushing yards a game for this Lehigh team this season. Offensive line, a big factor in that as well. Only given up 2 sacks this whole season. So a team effort in the running back room.
Yeah, a team effort. And Hayden Johnson's so good. We've already said it, but so good this season.
It's going to be Lehigh starting off offensively. They're going to be in their own territory at the 41, just before the 50. That's where they'll start after the retry on the punt, after the Lehigh penalty on the initial punt. Then it'll be Hayden Johnson in the shotgun. Gives a handoff. That's Green right up the middle. Gets a few yards taken down right after the 45.
Claudia Robinson, the first guy there on the tackle. One of the Fordham captains on this defensive unit, the big defensive lineman, able to get there first, wrap him up, and bring him down.
Gonna set up second down, 2nd and 4, ball on the 47. Johnson once again in the shotgun. Has 2 receivers spread out on this near sideline, including Joffrey Jamil, Lehigh's top receiver of 2024. Johnson in the shotgun in the backfield, takes the snap, empty backfield. Green tries to catch a running back screen on that far sideline, can't make the grab, and that'll be incomplete, setting up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, Lehigh goes empty backfield here, 5 wide. They throw Jaden Green over on the left side with a couple of big blockers, and they throw the screen pass. It's not a bad pass, but Jaden Green just drops it, and now they're going to face 3rd down.
Yeah, some trouble there from Green. Now sets up 3rd down, as Brendan said, 3rd and 4. Ball still on the 47. 3-0 Lehigh, 8:04 to go in this first quarter. Johnson in the shotgun. Green to his left, gives it to Green. Green catches it in the backfield, then runs past the 50, finally taken down before the 45. A decent run there to get the 1st down and keep the Lehigh offense moving.
Same concept here, Chris. They want to get Jaden Green the ball on a screen pass. This time they just do it as he comes out from the backfield. He already has a couple of blockers out to the left. He catches it and has room to go and picks up that first.
It's going to be 1st down for Lehigh. Ball on the 46, the Fordham 46. Lehigh now past the 50-yard line. Matt Humphrey all by himself on this near sideline. Matched up one-on-one. Now Hayden Johnson leaving the backfield. He goes out wide on this near sideline. It's Matt Maholnick, the backup. Takes the snap and runs a QB zone all the way out to right before the 40. And that'll be around 5 yards on the completion, setting up 2nd and middle.
And that's the beauty of having 2 quarterbacks that can both run the ball, but Maholnick also, he has that ability to pass the ball. So this Fordham defense, when you have 2 quarterbacks out there, it creates a lot of confusion. This time they're able to pick up a few yards.
Definitely jarring as well as a defense, seeing a quarterback go out wide like that. Johnson back in the backfield. In the shotgun's got Yoder directly to his right. 2 receivers to his right. 1 receiver to his left. 2nd and 6, takes the snap, gives the handoff up the middle. Yoder a bit stuffed up and doesn't even make it to the 40. Only 2 or 3 yards on that gain, and that'll set up around 3rd and 5.
Yeah, nowhere to go on that one, Chris. Again, this Fordham defensive line just collapses on the running back on that hole. Doesn't allow him anywhere to go.
It's going to be 3rd and 5. Ball on the 41. Johnson in the shotgun. Lehigh trying to get deeper into Fordham territory. 3 receivers to the right, all spread out. Johnson communicating with his line. Takes the snap, drops back. Looks on the far sideline. Catch is made. Humphrey. Defender dripped all over him. TJ Jones, fantastic coverage. It didn't matter. Mason Humphrey on the grab, and the first down for Lehigh.
And Chris, that is a beautiful throw there from Johnson. A back shoulder on the fade route by Humphrey. He hits him on that back shoulder. Humphrey goes up, makes the catch, and picks up the big first down.
1st and 10, 5:50 and ticking on this first quarter. Ball on the 25. Deeper and deeper into Fordham territory, Lehigh goes. 1st and 10, as I said. Johnson has a man in motion, decides not to give it to him, decides to run instead, taken out past the 35, call it the 34.
Yeah, they use Jaden Green there on a fake jet sweep there coming from left to right. Johnson decides to keep it, but he ends up just tripping and doesn't get to pick up any yardage.
Ball on the 25, I was mistaken, not the 35. 2nd and 10 on after that play. 5:13 to go in this first quarter. Johnson in the shotgun, Yoder to his right. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Once again, far sideline, no good on the catch from Humphrey. Drops it. I think it also might have went off the helmet of Jones as well. A very similar, almost the exact same play that we just saw, unsuccessful there for Lehigh.
Yeah, that one was just fantastic coverage by TJ Jones. Stays with the receiver, stays in his hip pocket, looks back when the ball is coming, gets his hands up and knocks it down. Picture perfect coverage there and forces the incompletion.
Following the incompletion, a timeout on the field. Teams will take a little break, so we'll take a break with them. 3-0 Lehigh. 4:56 to go in this first quarter. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brendan Shorey.
And I'm Joe Henry, your 2025 New York Jets beat reporters.
Follow along with us every Sunday as we cover and analyze all things JETS.
With a new quarterback at the helm, can Aaron Glenn right the ship and cause chaos in the AFC East?
Stay updated every week with game updates and recaps from @Brendan_Shorey
and @JoeHenry_4 on X.
WFUV, your home for Jets football.
Back here in the Bronx, Chris Carrino joined by my partner Brendan Shorey on family weekend here at Moglia Stadium. 4:56 to go in this first quarter. Lehigh up 3-0 on the Fordham Rams. They have the ball 3rd and 10 deep in Fordham territory. Ball on the Fordham 25. It was a field goal for Lehigh in their first offensive drive that got them on the board. Fordham punted, gave the ball back to Lehigh, and Lehigh trying to score again on their second drive. Or their third drive. Johnson in the shotgun, 3 receivers to his right. Green set up directly to his right in the backfield. Johnson drops back to pass, rolls out right, chased by a few Fordham defenders, then decides to run, almost runs over a linebacker, taken right around before the 20. Call that a 4 or 5 yard gain, and that won't be enough for the first down.
No, great coverage on the back end there. Fordham showed blitz, ended up bringing James Conway from that linebacking unit. Andrew Osmond dropped out man coverage behind the blitz, but everyone was so tight to their man, Johnson had nowhere to go with that ball.
Another field goal opportunity for Lehigh. Can't cash in on a touchdown, so they'll once again have to settle for a field goal.
Yeah, another win in Fordham's book. Listen, their defense has been bend, don't break this year. Let the team drive down, but then try and force them to field goals and punts, and they've been successful today so far.
Nick Garrido taking the kick right past the 25, and it is good. No good. I learned 2 weeks ago not to assume on the field goals. Didn't learn my lesson. No good on that one. Just right of the right pylon. And that's a big jolt of morale for this Fordham team.
Huge jolt of morale, Chris. And that one almost blocked even. But Garrido gets it off. But he has to aim right because you have pressure coming off that left side of the unit. Ends up pushing it a little too far right. And Fordham's going to have great field position to start their next drive.
Lehigh getting no points on that drive. It's still 3-0. Fordham in a pretty good spot for how they've played so far.
Yeah, and Chris, that's the beauty of the bend don't break is when you force teams to take these field goals, no matter how long they are, it's always uncertain whether they're gonna make it or miss it. And this time, Fordham ends up lucking out that Garrido misses this kick, and now huge swing of momentum in Fordham's favor as well.
And now the Fordham offense goes out there, Brendan, trying to respond. What does this Fordham offense have to do just tangibly out there to not only just score but get down the field? They're having trouble getting past the 50.
Yeah, you got to stay ahead of the sticks, Chris. You saw on the last drive, Gunnar Smith on the very first play ends up taking the loss of 3 on the run. That's something you can't afford to do for this Fordham offense. If you want to get this run game going, you got to stay ahead of the sticks so that way it keeps the defense on their toes.
Keeps the defense on their toes. Establishing the run game is a part of that as well. I think this Fordham team is at their best when that run game is established and the pass game maybe isn't the only thing that the defense is focusing on.
Yeah, when the run game isn't established, these defenses know exactly what you're going to do. And Gunnar Smith has been so good at it this year, but these defenses expect Fordham to come out throwing the ball a lot every single game. And if you're able to get that run game going, it makes it so this defense can't just key in on the pass. They have to also play the run. They have to stack the box, and that allows stuff to open up in the passing game down the field.
Fordham defensively have allowed 21 points in every game this season, at least 41 points given up in each of their first 4 matchups this season. So the Fordham defense giving their offense some help here, only 3 points after those couple drives from Lehigh. For how high-powered this Lehigh offense has been, you can't really ask for more as an offense.
No, you can, and Chris, you mentioned this Fordham defense who has looked so much better these past few games than they did at the beginning of the season. You mentioned 41 points at least given up in the first 4 games, but it seems like they have been getting better game by game. In these last few games, it looks like they have been getting a lot better creating turnovers, limiting teams in their offenses in terms of scoring, but also in terms of yardage as well, kind of keeping the quarterback in the pocket. It's the little things that this defense has been improving on and doing that has made them look so much better recently.
And it gives so much more confidence, so much more grace to Gunnar Smith and his offense as well. It seems like they were just trying to keep up with teams offensively in the beginning of this season. It seems the defense has gotten a little bit more legitimacy as this season has gone along.
Yeah, and that's one thing that also allows for is that you're allowed to run the ball. When you have a defense that's giving up so many points per game and you want to try and keep up, if you fall behind, you go into pass mode, pass. But if you're able to hold these offenses to lower scoring totals, you're able to try and establish that run more.
Jack Freeberg, fantastic last week for this Fordham offense. No Ricky Gonzalez last week after a career day 2 weeks ago. And Gunnar Smith will start the offense on the 21. Gives the handoff. That will be Jamel James getting past the 25, taken down around the 27, 6 yards on the gain to start the drive for the Fordham offense.
Yeah, Chris, that is an ideal drive starter there. He bounces off tacklers and picks up a good gain on first.
Yeah, now creates 2nd and short, 2nd and 4, ball on the 27. Fordham in their own territory. Another handoff up the middle. James stuffed in the backfield, and that'll set up right around the same spot. Set up 3rd and 5 on the 28.
TJ Burke, the defensive lineman there on the tackle, limits Jamel James, who no gain there on that play, makes it a 3rd and medium.
He actually on the 26, 3rd and 5 on the 26, 3:30 and counting on this first quarter clock. Big 3rd down for the Rams offense. Smith in the shotgun, claps for the snap, looks far sideline, has a receiver taken down right after the catch, right past the first down marker. A big first down for this Fordham offense. Jabril Carter on the catch.
Great hands there by Jabril Carter. He gets hit as soon as he catches this ball, but he holds on to it and picks up that first.
Big first down. Again, Fordham wasting no time. No huddle. 1st and 10. Ball on the 34. Fake handoff. Thrown on the far sideline. Wide receiver screen to Freeberg. He dives, taken down right on the out-of-bounds marker around the 40-yard line.
Yeah, Chris, on these run-pass options, it's a numbers game on the outside. If you have numbers, if you have more numbers out there than the defense has, you're going to throw that ball like they did there to Freeberg.
Once again, Fordham going no huddle. Smith in the shotgun. Jamel James directly to his left. 2 receivers on both sides. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Thrown over the middle, caught by Freeberg. just before the 50, call it the 48. Jack Freeberg, nice 2 plays getting this Fordham offense past the 50.
Great gap shot here. You see both linebackers drop back into the hook curl zones. Gunnar Smith sees this and fires that ball between them as Freeberg crosses the field.
Right before the 50 on the 49-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Fordham offense. Smith communicating with his line, pointing at rushers. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff once again. Smith steps up in the pocket, then decides to run past the 40, finally taken down at the 35. A big play by this team's leader, Gunnar Smith.
And Chris, that's something we haven't even talked about yet, is Gunnar Smith and his ability to use his legs, extend plays, and even when he has to, take it himself and pick up yardage.
13 yards on that run. Now ball on the Lehigh 36, 1st and 10 for the Rams. Still not wasting any time. No huddle once again. Smith claps for the snap, gives the handoff to Lewis, up the middle. Gets around 2 to 3 yards on the pickup. That'll set up 2nd down.
And Chris, this no-huddle offense, it does 2 things. It keeps that momentum going from what you have from the previous play, but also it tires this defense out, and that's what this Fordham offense is targeting this drive.
Clock has been bleeding at the end of this first quarter. 1:24 to go in this first quarter. Still 3-0 Lehigh. Smith set up in the shotgun. James to his left. Takes the snap. Evades pressure. Finally taken down by 3 and 4 Lehigh rushers. That's a big play for the Lehigh defense, creating a 3rd and long.
Yeah, huge play there for the Lehigh defense. They've been so good at getting to the quarterback this season. They came into this game with 21 sacks. That is their strength defensively, and Fordham falls victim to it there.
Lose a few yards, actually, 3rd down, 3rd and 12 after the loss of yards. 5 lost yards on that last play. Ball now at the 38-yard line, and the Fordham offense finds themselves in a bit of a hole.
Yeah, 3rd and long. Again, this is where the Lehigh strength is going to come into play, Chris.
3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Smith clapping in the shotgun. James to his left. Gives the handoff. Receives contact at the 35, taken down at the 34. And that seems to just be kind of almost a punt of metaphorically for this Fordham offense.
Yeah, Fordham electing to run a draw, maybe try and catch this defense napping, but Chris, it looks like Fordham's going to attempt a long field goal here. This one, about 51 yards.
Yeah, the sophomore, Bennett Henderson out there. 51-yard attempt on the field goal. His heels are just on the Fordham logo at center field. And that's the time draining off the first quarter clock. Fordham's going to have to wait till after the end of the quarter to kick that one. We'll take a little break. We're going to send it back to the studio. A decent quarter for the Fordham Rams, only down 3-0. A lot of positives in that first quarter, Brendan.
Yeah, only down 3-0 and a chance to tie it as soon as we come out of break for the second quarter, Chris. They look good offensively, they look good defensively, and they're keeping up with this Lehigh team.
We're going to send it back to the one-on-one Rose Hill Studios for the one-on-one scoreboard update with Emma Leonardi. Take it over, Emma.
Thanks, guys. Some more Patriot League action going on today. The Georgetown Hoyas travel to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania to play the Bucknell Bison. It's a matchup of 2 teams coming up on the Fordham Rams schedule. The score is 14-14 at halftime. Colgate and Holy Cross are early into their game. Crusaders are on their home turf after getting their first win of the season last week, trying to keep the ball rolling. Raiders and Crusaders even at 7 apiece. Now let's take you through some top 25 games. The Ole Miss Rebels take the trip for an SEC-ranked bout with the Oklahoma Sooners. Rebels were handed their first loss of the season last week, trying to bounce back against another one-loss team in the Sooners. Rebels with a 15-10 lead approaching the end of the first half. Number 10 ranked Vanderbilt hosting number 15 ranked Missouri after a huge victory last week. The Commodores trying to keep their foot on the gas, facing another Tiger opponent. Kickoff set for 3:30 in Nashville, Tennessee. And number 20 LSU on the other side of that Vanderbilt game. They head back home to face Texas A&M, the 3rd-ranked team in the country. Aggies look to keep their undefeated season alive in Death Valley. That game scheduled for a 7:30 start. With your one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Anthony Smith.
1984. It is a longtime partner of Fordham Athletics. Be sure to visit.
Back here at Moglia Stadium, Anthony Smith on the update. On updates last week, back on updates today. Fantastic work, as always. Emma Leonardi engineering today. on the game. Joe Henry also in studio producing this one. 3-0 after the first quarter, Brendan. 1 quarter of Patriot League football in the Bronx. Fordham staying more competitive than I think a lot of people around the country thought they would coming into this matchup. Only a 3-0 deficit so far.
Yeah, only a 3-0 deficit against a team who all year has been so good offensively. And this Fordham defense, as they've been improving defensively through the past few weeks, has come out and really made an effort to stop this run. And Coach Conlin, I know we mentioned it already, Chris, but Coach Conlin, he preaches about the run game in practice every single week. And it looks like as the season goes on, week by week, this Fordham defense is keying in on that run more often than not.
Yeah, keying in more on that run more often than not. I think Lehigh is the blueprint for how this Fordham team should want to be successful in the future. Lehigh, obviously the premier running back room in the Patriot League. Fordham could take a lot of signs from that Lehigh running back room, not only how talented they are, but how many guys they have and how much it's by committee.
Yeah, and it's the thing with that Lehigh running back room is everyone is a threat, Chris. Everyone is a home run threat. Anyone can take it the distance, an 80-yard touchdown run. Anybody can do that, and that's why they're so good, all that depth that they have. It makes it so no matter who's on the field, you have to worry about that run.
Second quarter starting. It's Bennett Henderson attempting a 51-yard field goal. His feet right on the edge of the Fordham logo at midfield. He is deep. 3-0 Lehigh lead. Fordham trying to tie it. Henderson. Snap is good. Kick is up. No good. Didn't have the distance. It will be returned out of the end zone. Peltekian past the 30, past the 35, finally taken down at the 40, tackled by a few Fordham players. And there seems to be a little bit of extracurriculars on the field, a lost helmet, and just chaos all over the place on the turf.
Yeah, Chris Tuck there on this Fordham special teams unit. He gets his helmet thrown off on the field goal attempt and was immediately complaining to the referee about that. No, he didn't get any call, any sympathy from the referee. And then I guess he went up to the Lehigh player who was the one who threw his helmet off, and a little bit of extracurriculars after the play. Another thing that confused me is why they returned this kick. 51-yard kick. You're going to have great field position if he misses, but Lehigh elects to send a guy back there and have him try and return it.
Yeah, it was Peltekian who had that big punt return earlier that got waved off for a Lehigh flag. It was a similar play there where he cuts back, goes toward more of the middle of the field. If you have a player as dynamic as that, you would want to put him back there.
Yes, you would want to allow him to get the ball in his hands. Just kind of surprises me. Typically, you only see teams do that whenever it's the last play of the half, the last play of the game, where there isn't going to be a chance to take over with good field position and have your offense drive. Penalties on each team, it looks like.
That penalty is declined. Blindside block, number 0, during the return, half the distance from the spot of the foul, first down, Fordham.
Half the distance to the spot of the foul, first down, Fordham.
Lehigh.
Or first, Lehigh.
Mistake by the referee there.
Mistake on me. I was just regurgitating him. Nonetheless, I was going to bring it back, talking about that Fordham offense. Obviously, not what you wanted there. Missing a field goal, unsuccessful in general on the drive. There's a lot of success at the early stages of that drive. A good drive starter, as you said. How does Fordham culminate these drives in a successful way?
Well, Chris, you saw it was a good drive, but we also saw the reason that this field goal attempt was forced was that they got behind the sticks. They took the sack on second down. They made it a third and very long, a 3rd and 12, and then at that point it's very hard to come back from that. So again, just staying ahead of the sticks, staying on schedule.
Yeah, Lehigh, not great field position on their own 12-yard line. That's where the drive will start. 1st and 10. Johnson in the shotgun. Yoder directly to his right. He'll get the handoff right up the middle. 2 or 3 yards for Yoder, and that'll set up 2nd and 7.
Great job there by Yoder. Strong running. He keeps his feet moving, keeps pushing even after wrapped up, and is able to pick up an extra yard or two.
Got a Fordham Ram, another Fordham Ram down on the field. I believe it's a defensive lineman. Fordham dealt with injuries all year long, has definitely hamstrung this team in more ways than one.
Yeah, Chris, and not just injuries, but injuries to some of their key guys, their captains. Alex Kemper has missed time with injury. Claudia Robinson has missed time with injury. Duke Leonard has missed time with injury. Those are 3 of their captains there, 3 of the 4 outside of Gunnar Smith, Chris.
Fordham defense trotting out onto the field. Cloudy Robinson leading the rest of his linebacker and D-line crew. And it was a 6 yards on the gain, actually, setting up 2nd and 5. Ball on the 17-yard line for Lehigh. Still deep in their own territory. Johnson in the shotgun once again. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Yoder directly to his left. Takes the snap, drops back. Rolls out to his right. After receiving pressure, ball over the middle, in and out of the hands of not only a tight end for Lehigh, but also linebacker James Conway for Fordham.
Johnson just made a very dangerous decision. One thing that you were preached to when you're a quarterback, do not throw the ball across the field, back across your body. Johnson does this. He sees an open guy, and so he tries throwing it back across his body, but if that one misses by just a hair more, that's an interception.
Fordham D-line, good job on the pressure on that play as well. Johnson was rolling out due to pressure almost immediately. Sets up 3rd and 5. Big 3rd down for Lehigh. Ball on their own 17. And they're just going to hand it off. Green up the middle. He's going to be dragged from behind. What a play by Sam Burkle. Actually, Cloudy Robinson on the play, grabbing him from behind, tearing him down, and that'll set up 4th down. Fordham going to get the ball back.
And Chris, that just shows amazing strength there to be able to grab Jaden Green, a strong running back. Colby Spencer, the guy who did it, grabs Jaden Green by the jersey and just pulls a guy who already has his momentum going forward.
It's going to be another punt for Lehigh. Fordham doing a good job of getting their offense the ball back. Going to be Connor Poole set up. Ball down on their own 20-yard line. He'll take this one right around the goal line. Inside the 5. Jack Freeberg there to receive it. He'll call for a fair catch right around the 45, and that's where the Fordham offense will start.
Yeah, smart decision there by Freeberg. He is immediately circled by 3 or 4 Lehigh defenders there. He doesn't fair catch that one. He gets drilled. So great decision by him. And Fordham's going to have pretty good field position starting on their own 45 here.
Brendan, they haven't been successful, haven't scored on any offensive drive yet. How do they change that? How do they have this drive be the drive that changes the momentum for them?
Well, I like what they did last drive with the no-huddle stuff.
Yes.
You tire the defense out. It's really the pass rush that gets tired. You get this pass rush tired out, which is a very strong point of this Lehigh defense. If you're able to get them tired, then it makes this offensive line's job a whole lot easier. It gives Gunnar Smith more time in the pocket to throw. It also opens up running lanes. So I think going with a little bit of speed, a little bit of no-huddle offense, Chris.
The Mountain Hogs D-line, as you mentioned, has been fantastic this season. Led PL last year in sacks. They had 34. Already have 21 this season. That's good for 3 sacks per game. Ridiculous, Brendan. Also, not to mention, the preseason Defensive Player of the Year in the conference, Matt Spatney, one of, if not the best defensive ends in FCS football.
And Chris, 2 sacks already today on Gunnar Smith, and they've been so good defensively, and it's because of these guys in front. When you're able to generate pressure like that, when you're able to stop the run like they are, you force teams into 3rd and longs. You force them into 3rd down situations where they may not be comfortable, and it makes everyone on the back end's job a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. The linebacker core has done specifically a fantastic job getting after the quarterback this season. Obviously, we talked about Tyler Ahoyski earlier. He had a sack on Gunnar Smith. Bryson Edwards had 2 sacks 2 weeks ago against Columbia in their last game. He's also in the linebacker core. So it just seems, from a certain perspective, they just overwhelm these offenses that they play.
Yeah, and Chris, that's something we see with a lot of teams, both at the college level and at the professional level, is if you have a good front 7 that's able to speed up the quarterback's timing, you don't need as much from your guys in the back end. They don't have to stay with receivers for quite as long. They don't have to do quite as much tackling. It makes their job easier, and you can get away with a lot more.
Gunnar Smith and his offense start on the 45. On the wrong side of the 50, trying to make their way down the field and get on the scoreboard. Smith in the shotgun. 2 receivers on both sides. Ricky Parks directly to his right. Smith looking to the ref for some guidance. Now back to his line. Claps for the snap. Fake handoff. Drops back to pass. Looks near sideline. Has a receiver. Jabril Carter on the catch. That's a 1st down.
And great hands there again by Jabril Carter. He has to go up and get this ball. Goes up, grabs it, and gets tackled almost immediately, but holds on to the ball.
Ball on the other 45 now. 10 yards on that gain. And it'll be, once again, quick-moving Fordham offense. Parks up the middle, big run past the 35, taken down right around the 30. That'll be a 15-yard run for Ricky Parks. As we've talked about, Brendan, that run game, it's important.
Yeah, a huge hole opened up there too, Chris, by this offensive line. A great job by them.
Yeah, specifically Leonard and Lachlan, the two guards, really doing a great job there. An injury on the other side. I believe that's Peltekian, the returner/safety for this Lehigh team. He's down, and we're going to have an injury timeout.
Yeah, and Chris, it doesn't look like some of the Fordham coaches are too happy with this. Again, they wanted to go tempo, and the Fordham offense got right back on the ball quick, but a Lehigh defender goes down, and can't really tell what the injury is at this point, but some of the coaches fired up. They couldn't keep that tempo going.
Fordham Rams marching offensively. They still trail 3-0 over the Lehigh Mountain Hawks. 13 minutes exactly to go in this first half. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
I'm Kurt Sipple, telling you to tune into One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Catch us live every Saturday on our WFUV Sports YouTube Live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and later on 90.7 WFUV from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. We break down the week's latest headlines with our collection of tri-state area beat reporters, along with interviews with your favorite athletes and media personalities. WFUV is your home to talk all things New York sports.
Back here in the Bronx, Fordham offense moving quickly. Got a play in before we got back. It set up 2nd and 3 for the Rams. Rams deep in Lehigh territory. Ball on the Lehigh 23. Gunnar Smith setting up in 2nd down. Fakes the handoff. Throws on the near sideline. Out of the reach of Worrell. It'll be incomplete in the backfield. And that'll set up 3rd down, 3rd and 3.
Yeah, and Chris, again here, going with this tempo. As soon as they were back on the field, 2 plays back-to-back really quickly.
Tempo again, even after the incompletion. Fordham setting up quickly. 3rd and 3. Ball on the 23. Smith claps for the snap. Empty backfield. Decides to run. Goes right up the middle. I believe he's short of the 1st down. I think he's just a yard short, creating a 4th and 1.
Yeah, Chris, Gunnar Smith goes empty backfield, 5 wide, sees a very empty box. Quarterback draw there, sets up a very short 4th down.
They're going to keep the Fordham offense out here. 4th and 1. Fordham's going to go for it deep in Lehigh territory. Ball on the 21. Biggest play for the Fordham offense this afternoon. 12:05 to go in this first half. Smith gives the handoff up the middle. A massive scrum of bodies from both teams. Not sure if he got it or not. I believe he's short. Fists are up on the Lehigh defense, and he is. He's short. The refs signal that it's a no good on the 1st down. The ball is turned over back to the Lehigh offense. What a play by the Lehigh defense, stopping a play that went right up the middle.
And you have to give so much credit to this Lehigh defensive line. They're able to get into the backfield, penetrate, and get Ricky Parks by the legs, bring him down before he's able to even pick up a single yard, Chris.
Fordham is now 9 for its last 35 3rd down conversion attempts. That dates back to the Lafayette game. This Fordham team, even in that Lafayette game, had trouble on 3rd down, but weirdly had a lot of success on 4th down.
Yeah, a team that has been very good on 4th down, one of the best, if not the best, conversion rates on 4th down in the Patriot League.
Lehigh's offense starting quickly as well. It's going to be Yoder with an outside zone handoff. He'll take it right around to the 25. It'll be around 4 to 5 yards on the gain, and he'll set up 2nd down.
Yeah, again, Lehigh here leaning on their strength, running the ball, staying ahead of schedule, picking up a good gain on 1st down to make their job on 2nd and 3rd down a whole lot easier.
It's going to be 2nd and 6 after the pickup. Ball in the 25. Lehigh's own 25. 11 and a half and counting on this first half. Johnson moves a wide receiver in motion, fakes the handoff, throws to the guy in motion, near sideline. It's the running back, Green, who actually made the catch. He stopped right around the 30-yard line. It's going to be 5 yards on that pickup. I believe it's right on the precipice of the 1st down.
Yeah, the Fordham defense does a great job at getting out to this screen pass. You have Jaden Green going right to left, and they throw it to him in the flat with 3 blockers ahead of him. the Fordham defense got hands to the ball and made the tackle before he was able to pick up the first.
Third down for the Mountain Hawks. 3rd and 1. Ball on their own 30. They still hold on to a 3-0 lead. Tight end in motion to the left side of the line, and it's handed off. Yoder goes right up the middle. Fists are up for the Fordham defense. We'll see if they got the stop. Refs are deciding it now. Spot is put down. I believe he's short.
It looks like they're going to give it to him. They're waving the stick crew to move those chains, and this Fordham crowd not happy about that one, Chris.
Fordham seemed almost certain that they had gotten the stop. I think 8 of the 11 guys on the defense had fists up after the play. Nonetheless, first down, Lehigh still in their own territory at the 31. Johnson claps for the snap. In the shotgun, throws it near sideline. Humphrey with another Moss, and he's still going. Finally taken down at the 40. What a play by Mason Humphrey, the second time this afternoon. He catches one right on the helmet of TJ Jones II. What a play.
Yeah, Johnson just puts that ball in a space where he says, Humphrey, go make a play for me. Humphrey does just that, gets up, makes the very impressive catch, and is able to pick up a few yards after the catch as well.
Big play for the Lehigh offense. Now in Fordham territory. Ball on the Fordham 39. 9:29 to go in this first half. Johnson, Yoder right behind him, gives it to him. Yoder completely stopped by James Conway right past the 40-yard line. James Conway a little slow to get up after the play. And that'll set up second down.
And Chris, Conway is the heart and soul of this Fordham defense. Their defensive signal caller, the guy who runs this unit, and he's been so good for them this year. It looks like number 12, Andrew Osmond, is the guy who's down.
Oh, yeah.
Another man in that linebacker.
Osmond and Conway both a little shaken up after that play. As we heard from Coach, talking to him before this game, Osmond maybe the most attention paid out of any other player on this team to James Conway. Said James Conway and him very close. He's had a very good year this season up to this point. Would be majorly disappointing to have an injury here.
Yeah, Chris, and if you look back at kind of the recent history of this Fordham linebacking crew, you have Ryan Greenhagen, who is one of the best linebackers in Fordham history to come in and do it, and then you have James Conway, who comes in and learns from Greenhagen, learns his ways, and then you have Osmond coming in as Conway is now in his last year of eligibility, and Osmond transitioned from safety last year to linebacker this year and has been studying and learning from Conway a lot this year.
The highest total tackler so far this season, with Conway and of course Osmond, who is down just now. The cheers you heard behind us was him coming off the field, had his almost full team around him. Obviously a very popular player with his teammates.
And Chris, between the two guys, they combined for 165 of the 545 total team tackles this year.
He takes a seat on the bench looking at his ankle. Johnson will drop back for the Lehigh offense. He's going to let it fly long. Wide open Humphrey, just out of his reach. Mason Humphrey, no one within 10 yards of him, and just couldn't reach that one. Johnson, a lot of confidence there on that long ball.
And Chris, that one was a busted coverage on the back, and you have one safety sitting over the top on that right side. You have a receiver running a deep corner, and this safety flies down to that corner. Then you have Humphrey on the post coming from the right over the top and is wide open. That one just a miss by Johnson.
Hayden Johnson, no hesitation on that throw, just slinged it. Osmond getting his helmet back on, looks like he might come back in the game. Sets up 3rd and 10. 3rd and 10 for the Lehigh offense. They give it to Green. He'll run it up the middle for around 6 or 7 yards, and that'll set up 4th down. A stop for the Fordham Rams.
And Chris, who else but James Conway in there on that tackle?
James Conway coming into this game just 12 tackles away from the FCS career record.
He's been so impressive.
He has 550 in his career.
So impressive throughout his entire career, Chris. And it looks like Lehigh's going to go for it here.
Lehigh going to go for it. 4th and 2. Both teams now trying to go for it on 4th down. 4th and 2. Ball on the 31. Given to Yoder right up the middle. Catches a burst and gets the first down. Big play there by the Lehigh offense to keep the chains moving in Fordham territory. And a successful 4th down conversion.
And Chris, John Scott almost makes a huge play for this Fordham defense. He's coming off the left side of that offensive line. He almost gets Yoder by the feet. He's just a hair late, and Yoder is able to get out of there and pick up the first.
After the 4th down conversion, 1st and 10, ball on the Fordham 28. 7:53 and counting on this first half clock. Still a 3-0 Lehigh lead. Johnson and his offense trying to add to it. Johnson gives the handoff to Yoder right up the middle. Found a hole. Ended up getting taken down past the 20, around the 15-yard line. That'll be around 13 yards on the gain for Yoder.
And a good play design there. You have James Conway blitzing from that right side in that linebacking spot, but then you run it right to the left where you have Andrew Osmond dropping back. You have a massive hole there that opens up.
It's going to be 1st and 10.
Gain of 11, 1st and 10.
Ball on the Fordham 17-yard line. Johnson once again in the shotgun. Receivers on both sides. Yoder positioned directly behind him. Johnson now moving Yoder to his right. Takes the snap. Gives to Yoder up the middle once again. Runs over Conway. Eventually taken down right before the 10-yard line. Around 6 yards on the gain there, once again for Yoder. Yoder consistently picking up yards for this Lehigh offense.
Yeah, consistently picking up yards despite immediate penetration on this play by a few Fordham defensive linemen. He's able to kind of squeeze through them and pick up about 6, Chris.
Clock still counting, 6:40 and counting. Lehigh trying to get in the end zone, create a second score of the afternoon. Johnson in the shotgun. Yoder to his right. Hands off to Yoder up the middle once again. Spamming Yoder, and Yoder now at the 5. That's going to be a 7-yard gain, a first down for Lehigh. And this almost seems a bit unfair, Brendan.
Yeah, and it's consistent 5-6 yard gains here from Yoder. And that's what they've been so good at, is he's averaging over 6 yards a carry this season. And he is showing exactly how he's doing that.
Some substitutions for the Fordham defense. 6 minutes and counting on this first half clock. 1st and goal for the Lehigh offense. Johnson in the shotgun. 2 receivers out wide on both sides. Yoder directly behind him. Gives the handoff to Yoder. Another run right up the middle. That time he is stopped right after the 5-yard line. It'll be around a yard on the gain, setting up 2nd and goal.
Yeah, Chris, it looked like the Fordham defensive line had enough of those 5-6 yards gains. They were able to make the tackle in the backfield and hold them to a very short gain here.
It's going to be Hayden Johnson, the quarterback of Lehigh, coming off. Matt Maholnick, his backup, coming in. Known for what he can do with his legs. Wonder if we'll see some sort of special running play here. Got Yoder directly to his left. And he throws. Wide receiver screen, far sideline. Taken down right before the goal line. Jamil almost got in the end zone. Fantastic tackle by Osmond on the goal line, saving a touchdown.
Yeah, and Chris, just his 3rd pass attempt of the year. A guy who they usually bring in to run the ball, but can throw it, has shown he can throw it. The defense expects run when he comes in, but here again, screen pass to the right, throw the ball, get it out of his hands and away from the majority of these Fordham defenders.
3rd and 1 for Lehigh. 3rd and goal for Lehigh. Mountain Hawks trying to get in the end zone. 3-0 lead. 4.5 to go on the clock in this first half. Johnson back in there for the Lehigh offense. There's a timeout called right before the snap. I believe it's on Fordham. What'd you see there, Brendan?
Yeah, it looks like Joe Conlon was sprinting down the sideline to try and get that timeout in. I guess he didn't like the look that Lehigh was giving, or didn't like the way that his defense was lined up to kind of combat the look they were giving, but he sprints down that sideline and gets the timeout in.
Doing his best Kirby Smart impression.
Absolutely, his dang best, Chris.
3rd and goal, 3rd and 1 for this Lehigh offense. Brendan, after all they've done in this drive, it would really be a disservice not to get in the end zone of this drive.
Yeah, and you mentioned all they've done, a 4th down conversion. Just their 5th of the year, Chris. They're last in the Patriot League in that aspect. They don't typically convert on 4th downs. They don't necessarily have to go for 4th downs a lot this year. They are pretty ahead of schedule for the most part, but you have that big 4th down conversion. You have these big 3rd and short, a couple of them at the beginning of the drive, and then recently as well. But such a long drive, it would feel like such a disappointment to not get the end zone.
It would definitely feel like a disappointment. And also, from the Fordham perspective, after a drive like that, to still only be down a score would be pretty miraculous.
Oh, it absolutely would. I mean, the amount of time that Lehigh has taken off the clock, just pounding the rock this drive, run after run after run. I mean, there's only 4 minutes left, Chris, in the half. But they've done such a good job at keeping this Fordham defense on the field and tiring them out. But if this Fordham defense is able to come up with a stop, that is absolutely a win in their book.
As you said, around 4 minutes to go in this second quarter, one of the quickest second quarters I've ever seen, whether it's the quick moving offense of Fordham or it's the constant running of the ball from Lehigh. It just seems like that clock has been draining for 15 minutes straight.
Yeah, because I don't honestly remember the last time the clock was stopped before this timeout. It has been run after run for this Lehigh offense the past couple of first downs, and then even before then they were pretty efficient with their passing attempts, completing a majority of them, getting them out, like the screen pass to Jaden Green earlier in the drive, like short, quick completions that keep the clock running as well.
And with Lehigh scoring or Lehigh not scoring here, does that change the mindset offensively for Fordham coming into the next drive, or do you really just want to score on the next drive?
I think the mindset stays the same regardless. You want to go down and you need to get points. I think if Fordham comes up with a stop here, a lot of momentum goes to that Fordham offense, but the mindset's going to stay the same.
3rd and 1, ball at the 1 yard line. 3rd and goal, 4:25 to go in this second quarter. Lehigh trying to compound their 3-point lead. A low-scoring affair in this first half. Johnson in the shotgun. Yoder directly to his right. Marenka, the tight end, in motion. Johnson keeps it and runs it in. Touchdown, Hayden Johnson with his legs. And Lehigh is on the board with a touchdown. 10-0 Mountain Hawks.
Yeah, that one just a straight quarterback power. Johnson snaps it, catches it, and then it's just, where is that hole? Where can I go and just get 1 yard? He finds it, he dives through, and is able to score.
Seemed like Lehigh finally getting their touchdown. Seemed like they were banging at the door for a while.
Yeah, it seemed like they were banging on the door. They were knocking for the longest time. They're finally able to break through and get in that end zone.
And Hayden Johnson, we talked about it a little bit earlier. He was their leading rusher 2 weeks ago in that pivotal running back room. He still was their leading rusher. And there, he showed a real amount of acceleration from the 1 yard line to the goal line. I mean, he looked like a blur.
Yeah, Chris, he was so quick there. The Fordham defense didn't really have time to kind of react and meet him in the hole. He was just so quick, found the hole, got in, and we've known that he's a threat with his legs, but they're just showing us why. He's fast, he's strong, good runner, and great with the ball in his hands.
Extra point was good for Lehigh, a 10-0 lead for the Mountain Hawks. Here at Moglia Stadium is going to be a foul on the defense as well. A penalty. Penalty on the Fordham Rams on the extra point. Lehigh declines it, and they'll take their 10-0 lead.
Yeah, Chris, the 19th rushing touchdown now for Lehigh on the year. Just insane how efficient they're able to move the ball down the field and on the ground, just find the end zone, get in the end zone, and score in that way.
And it's been a committee today. It's been mostly Yoder, but Yoder and Green picking up just as many snaps as the other. It was this last drive we just saw, where Yoder really took over the responsibility. It seemed like he almost played every snap of that drive.
Yeah, and not just played every snap, Chris. It seemed like he got the ball almost every snap. It wasn't just him out there maybe running around, maybe staying back in pass protection, but it was, Yoder, you're out there, we're going to give you the ball, and it was handoff after handoff, draining the clock, pounding the rock, and getting down the field.
And now, Brendan, turning our attention to that Fordham offense, Fordham desperate to score now. Now a two-score deficit in a game where they haven't really given up that many points. 10 points with 4 minutes left in the first half isn't a lot. Fordham now in a desperate mode in this drive to score. They can't go scoreless in this first half.
Yeah, and look at their past couple of drives, Chris, as they've gotten down the field with that tempo offense. They've gotten into field goal range on both drives. One of them a missed field goal that came up short. The other one a fourth down conversion that didn't happen. But they've been able to drive down the field, and the beauty of this is you have 4 minutes and change to go, and then you go to half, and then coming out of half, this Fordham offense gets the ball right back.
Lehigh has more rushing yards this afternoon than Fordham has yards, period. Gunnar Smith and his offense need to do a little bit more, not only to just get down the field, but also finish these drives with a score, even a touchdown.
Yeah, and Chris, that's also something we've kind of seen all season long from this Fordham offense is even when they get going is they're able to drive down the field, but that one problem persists is can they finish these drives? Can they put points on the board after driving all the way down the field?
We'll take a little break here from the Bronx. 10-0 Lehigh leading the Fordham Rams, the hosting Fordham Rams. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports. Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Carrino.
And I'm Joe Henry.
Tune in weekly for NFL Friday, your exclusive WFUV Sports podcast for all things National Football League.
We'll be covering everything on and off the gridiron for the biggest sports league in the world every week on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcast.
Can the Eagles repeat?
Will the Jets or Giants finally take a leap?
What's Shadur up to?
All of that and more on NFL Friday on WFUV Sports.
Chris Carrino joined by Brendan Shorey here at Moglia Stadium on the beautiful campus of Fordham University. Lehigh kicking it off back to the Fordham offense after their last drive ending in a touchdown. First touchdown of the afternoon gave Lehigh a 2-score lead. And that'll be a fair catch called on the kickoff for Fordham, and Fordham will take it over.
Yeah, Vinny Rue guy there, the guy back there taking the fair catch. Fordham, what we've seen from them on kickoff returns this year is it's either Worrell or it's nothing. If it's not in Worrell's hands, they're going to fair catch it. If it is, to let him return it.
Fordham, as we talked about before the commercial, desperate on this drive to score a touchdown.
Yeah, they are desperate. They want to go and put points up. Listen, you get the ball to start the second half, but at that point, you want that game. You want this game to be a one-possession game.
Johan Lee Lewis and Jamel James, two backs, still looking for their first touchdowns this season. Only 2 running back touchdowns all year for the Rams. Smith starting the drive on the 25. 1st and 10. Smith claps for the snap, loudly claps for the snap. Tried to find his receiver over the middle, and he was absolutely blanketed by a defender, and a fantastic defensive back play by Lehigh.
Yeah, Noden Tracy there, the receiver on that one, and that ball in his hands, and then a fantastic play by this Lehigh defense getting in there and punching the ball out.
It was Aiden Singleton, the junior, punching that ball out. It's going to be 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Ball still on the 25. Smith claps for the snap, drops back, looks to pass, tries to find Jamel James in the flat, and he's blown up before making the catch. Another incomplete pass for the Rams.
And Chris, another play where whoever is catching the ball for Fordham gets hit as soon as that ball touches their hands.
Broken up by Edward.
After the 2 incompletions from Gunnar, it sets up 3rd down. 3rd and 10 for the Rams. Deep in Lehigh, deep in their own territory at the Fordham 25. Smith, 3 receivers to his right, fakes the handoff, drops back, receives pressure, finds his man on the outside. Jabril Carter with the catch and the 1st down. Big play for the Ram offense.
Great route by Jabril Carter. He sells the vertical route, gets the corner to flip his hips, and then breaks it out just past the sticks for the 1st down.
A 1st down for the Rams at midfield. Rams looking for some consistency offensively. Smith hands it off. Will be no gain on that play. It'll set up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Ricky Parks is met immediately when he finds the hole there. Just nowhere to go on that one.
Ricky Gonzalez setting a career high in receptions 2 weeks ago. He's been absent in the last 2 weeks since then. A big hole for this Fordham offense. 2nd and 9 after the 1-yard gain. Ball still on the Fordham 38. Fakes the handoff, decides to throw. It's caught on the near sideline right before the 1st down marker. Now back-to-back completions for Gunnar Smith.
Yeah, and a very similar play to the last completion, Chris, this time just to the opposite side. Note Tracy with the out route instead of Jabril Carter this time.
A gain of 8, 3rd and 1.
It'll be Lewis subbing off in favor of Jamel James in the backfield. Smith looking to his sideline for direction. 3rd and 1. 1 yard to get the first down. Ball on the 46, still their own 46. Smith in the shotgun. Gives the handoff. Jamel James over the Block F logo, right at the first down marker. We'll see where he was.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to give it to him, Chris, right there, very close
right
call.
on the line.
But the close official to us signaling for a first down.
About as close as you can get on a first down. Nonetheless, Fordham gets it. 25 seconds until the 2-minute warning here in the second quarter.
And Chris, Jack Benton subbing in there, number 17. A guy we haven't seen a whole lot of today.
Benton on our near sideline here out wide. 1st and 10. Ball right before the 50. Fakes the handoff. Looks deep. Looks for him. Couldn't quite get there. Threw way ahead of Benton. Good coverage there as well by Aiden Singleton. And that'll set up 2nd down.
And Benton, one of the vertical threats for this Fordham offense, and they did it to him immediately. They sent him on a go route, and he looked like he had a step, but that ball just a little bit out of reach, a little bit out of bounds.
2nd and 10 now on this play. Ball still on the 47. Ricky Parks now moving in to the right of Smith in the backfield. Now alternates to the left side of Smith. 2 receivers on the left, 1 on the right. Smith claps for the snap. Looks up the middle, finds his man. It was a wide receiver screen up the middle. Unorthodox play, gets them a couple yards down on the gain and creates 3rd and short.
Chris, Fordham ran this a couple of times last week, and it's one of the play calls that I absolutely love. Is you send whoever's in that running back spot this time, Ricky Parks, you send him out to the flat, and it looks like it's going to be a running back screen out there, and then you have the tight end who's sitting in that fullback position go out and then come right back in for the tight end screen with blockers ahead of him. It worked so well last week. This time only able to pick up a couple yards.
2-minute warning. Both teams taking a little break. 2 massive huddles on the field for both respective teams. Only 3 yards on that carry, so that'll set up 3rd and 7. Ball exactly on the 50. Brendan, this drive for the Fordham offense, so pivotal, not only today, but the mojo for this team the rest of the season.
Yeah, Chris, this drive is instrumental in probably what's going to be the final result. Is you can take a look back at how the results of this drive, and if Fordham's able to go down and get points, they can double dip. Points right before the half, points coming out of the half. But if you're unable to score here, you don't want to give Lehigh the ball back. You don't want to let them go and extend their lead here. But if you don't score, then you come out down 2 scores into the second half, and at that point you're down 2 scores but also scoreless in this game.
What have you seen from the run game of Fordham, Brendan? Has it gotten better? Is it more implemented? Is it more effective?
It seems decent but a little inconsistent to me, Chris. There are runs where these guys are going, whoever it is, Ricky Parks, Jamel James, Yohan Lee Lewis, whichever guy's in there. There are runs where they're able to break it for 10, 12 yards, and there have been a few of those, but then on the flip side of that, there have also been a couple of runs where they're able to pick up 1 yard. Maybe they're stopped at the line of scrimmage, stopped in the backfield. So those inconsistencies are kind of hindering this run game today.
Mentioned it briefly at the start of the game, but these 2 head coaches, they know each other very well. Coach Conlon and Coach Kevin Cahill of Lehigh, both on the same staff at Yale before going to their respective colleges. Very close friends. We even talked about it with Coach Conlon. Seems like there is some bragging rights at stake between these 2 guys.
Yeah, and Chris, it's the rubber match between them. It's a 1-1 tie in the series between Coach Conlon and Coach Cahill, and you mentioned it. They're great friends. They coached together at Yale for a while, and once Coach Conlon left Yale, it was Coach Cahill who stepped up and assumed his role. But now both leading their own respective schools.
And when Cahill was looking around for jobs, head coaching jobs, a lot of schools called Coach Conlon to see, what their thoughts were. The defining question for Lehigh when hiring him, when they asked Joe Conlon, was, would you want him to coach Lehigh? His answer was no, and they subsequently hired him right after that. 3rd and 7 for the Rams. Big 3rd down at midfield, exactly on the 50. Right after the 2-minute warning. Smith, back to pass. Finds his receiver on the far sideline. Great route by Jabril Carter, and he gets a first down for the Rams and keeps the Fordham offense moving.
And you have to give him props here on this play. Fantastic job getting his feet inbounds after coming down with that ball.
Fantastic play, getting Fordham deeper and deeper into Lehigh territory. Now at the 37, first down. 1:50 on the first half clock. Jaden Allen in motion. Fake handoff to Parks. Some activity in the backfield. Smith evades it and almost throws an interception on the near sideline. DJ Brown, the cornerback, came in flying, and Smith received a lot of attention in that backfield, still tried to make a play, and almost created a disaster.
Chris, so many highs and lows on this play alone.
Talk us through the beginning of the stuff happening in the backfield.
Yeah, Matt Spatney, the guy, the defensive end, coming off the right side of the Fordham offensive line in the
Patriot League
backfield.
preseason defensive player of the year.
In the backfield, immediately wraps up Gunner. It seems as if he wraps up Gunner Smith. Smith able to duck out of it, scramble right, two guys chasing him, throws the ball to what he thinks is an open receiver, but it falls incomplete.
It's going to be 2nd and 10 after that play. Ball still firmly on the Lehigh 37. Fake handoff to Parks up the middle. Gunner steps up and throws and finds his receiver. What a play there to secure the grab right around the 30-yard line. It's around a 7-yard reception, setting up 3rd and short. Big play for the Rams.
Great pocket awareness by Gunner Smith. Again, pressure off the outside. Steps up into a pocket that didn't even look like it had any space and delivered a fantastic ball.
Fordham moving quickly, 3rd and 2. Trying to keep the drive alive. Smith in the shotgun. Gives the handoff to Parks up the middle. See if he got it. I don't believe he did. Fordham possibly short again on 3rd down.
A very patient run there by Ricky Parks. Reminds me of Le'Veon Bell, who was known in the NFL for just his patience, searching for holes behind the line of scrimmage, would oftentimes wait seconds until something opens up. Parks this time very reminiscent of that, waits for there to be some sort of gap and tries pushing his way through.
Fordham driving now deep in Lehigh territory, trying to get on the board for the first time this afternoon. Lehigh 10-0 lead over the Fordham Rams. A minute to go, 1:06 exactly to go in this first half. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports. We're gonna keep it here as well.
Want to be part of the Ramley? It all starts here. I'm Nathan Rogers.
And I'm Kate Cox, and we are two of your hosts for On the Hill, WFUV's exclusive podcast for all things Fordham athletics.
From the field of Mowgli.
And a sack in the backfield. Talked about this defensive line of Lehigh. TJ Burke, the senior, is there to get to Gunner Smith and get the sack on 4th down. Fordham really needed to move the chains there, and they didn't. Lehigh's defensive line said no.
Fordham tried to get a little cute with this play action. Gunner Smith looking for a guy over on that left side, but both his receivers over there absolutely blanketed in coverage. He had nowhere to go. Combine that with the immediate pressure from this Lehigh defensive line, and they get to him.
So now Lehigh taking over once again. As you said before, maybe they could sneak in another score with a minute left here in the half. It would be really demoralizing for this Fordham unit to go down 3 scores heading into the half. Ball at the Fordham 25, or ball at their own 25, and a catch. Catch made at the 45, still running after the catch, taken down at the 45, and now into Fordham territory. 53 seconds and counting on the clock.
Johnson gets that snap and gets the ball out very quickly here.
And Lehigh moving quickly. Johnson steps back to pass, throws it on the far sideline, just out of the reach of his wide receiver, and that'll set up 2nd down and stop the clock.
Yeah, Johnson testing the Fordham defensive back, Alex Kemper, one of the captains of this Fordham team. Kemper just so good, so tight in coverage on that one. That ball flies out of bounds.
After that ball flies out of bounds, it'll set up 2nd and 10, 45 seconds on this first half clock. The Lehigh Mountain Hawks playing against the clock here toward the end of the half, trying to go up 3 scores on the hosting Rams. Anthony Feaster in motion, and he receives it in the motion. 8 yards on the pickup from him. That'll be right around the first down marker. There's a flag in the secondary as well. What's that on?
Flag thrown at the very end of the play there. It's in the secondary, so I would imagine it's something, either some sort of illegal contact or pass interference, something in relation to that. I don't think it's going to be anything holding-wise or anything regarding the offensive line.
40 seconds at the time of the foul. Still 10-0 Lehigh. Lehigh trying to compound that lead.
Offensive pass interference.
An offensive pass interference does not help Lehigh, moves them back. They were moving pretty quickly up the field. That does not help.
Yeah, and Chris, the reason this happens is they motion Feaster from left to right, and they want to run him straight out of that motion on an out route, and you have a receiver over on the right running a pick play. He runs up and tries to stop and kind of get in the way of the Fordham defensive backs. This time he just gets a little too handsy, a little too physical, and that one's going to be called back for getting in the way a little too much.
They're going to move way back. Going to be spotted at the 38-yard line. 2nd and 25 for Lehigh. 40 seconds left in this first half. Johnson throws it quickly. Caught by Jamil at the 45. No time wasted. A timeout eventually taken by Lehigh. They were going to move quick, but eventually their head coach elects for the timeout.
Yeah, great job there by Justin Johnson, the corner for Fordham. He's playing outside leverage. At this point, you just don't want to let Lehigh get out of bounds, and he does a fantastic job at that. He's playing outside along that sideline and makes the tackle inbounds.
Justin Johnson seeing more time this year than I think he thought he would. Alex Kemper missed 2 games this season, week 5 and 6, for an injury. Justin Johnson started in place of him, and he's done a good job. Seems like he belongs with this defensive unit.
Yeah, Chris, he's definitely getting reps with that Alex Kemper injury, and even when Alex Kemper was back, they kind of eased him into it a little bit. You look at last game, and even still this game is where he's kind of rotating in with Alex Kemper, giving Kemper some breathers.
The clock is the Fordham Rams' friend. 34 seconds to go in this first half. 3rd and 18 for Lehigh. Ball on the Lehigh 45. Back in their own territory. Johnson back to pass. Steps up in the pocket. Rolls out left. Still running. Eventually throws it 4 or 5 yards right in front of him just for a completion out of bounds. And that'll stop the clock and move the chains. Or not move the chains, a completion in front.
Johnson wants Jamil down the field here. Jamil's running a wheel route on this left side and is kind of trying to get back behind this zone coverage, but a great job by this Fordham defense seeing him and sticking with him down the field, forcing Johnson to check it down, and now Lehigh will punt.
Fordham Rams have played a clean game of football as well. No penalties so far in this first half for the Rams. They usually average 5.2 a game. The punt for Lehigh sent off. Be Jack Freeberg back to receive it, and that ball is down inside the 10. Fantastic work from the Lehigh special teams, and they pinned Fordham way back there.
Great punt there with some backspin on it. Typically that ball, once you see it bounce inside the 10, it's going to carry, but with the backspin that was on that ball, it bounces at the 5-yard line, and instead of bouncing into the end zone, it bounces back to the 7.
17 seconds on the clock after the kick and after the downing. 10-0 still, Lehigh. Fordham scoreless in this first half.
And Chris, I imagine Fordham very okay here just to knee this ball, go to halftime, and come back and regroup.
And that's it. A kneel down, as Brendan said, from Gunnar Smith, and they'll relinquish that last drive of the half. Fordham going into the locker room scoreless. 10-0 Lehigh leads over the Fordham Rams. Lehigh impressive in that first half, Brendan, but not so impressive that this Fordham team couldn't be competitive. This Fordham team has had a lot of stages of that first half where they would and could be competitive.
Yeah, and Chris, I think it all was kind of shown on Lehigh's massive drive all the way down the field where they ended up punching it in for the touchdown. But the run game was very effective, and then coming off of that run game, Johnson was able to pass the ball well and pass it efficiently, and Lehigh was able to drive down the field pretty well on that drive. But really, outside of that, this Fordham defense has been very good at containing the run, containing Johnson, not letting him move out of the pocket and make plays with his feet.
11 first downs for Lehigh to Fordham's 8, and 88 rushing yards for Lehigh to Fordham's 29. That seems to be the difference so far in this first half. Fordham trailing going into the locker room 10-0 over the Patriot League's best, the undefeated Lehigh Mountain Hogs. We're going to take a little break from Moglia Stadium, me and Brendan. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill studio for the one-on-one halftime show with Tucker Austin and Anthony Smith. Take it away, guys.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the one-on-one halftime report. I am Tucker Austin, joined by Anthony Smith. The Lehigh Mountain Hawks lead the Fordham Rams 10-0 in Fordham's family weekend game here on October 25th. Patriot League game, the fourth this season for the Fordham Rams. They're 1-2 in the conference. Lehigh, as Chris mentioned at the end of the first half, is undefeated still, 7-0 overall and 2-0 in the conference. Before we get into our first half analysis, though, we are going to send it to Anthony Smith for another one-on-one scoreboard update. Here you go, Anthony.
Thanks, Tucker. Game 1 of the Fall Classic was last night. The Toronto Blue Jays with an 11-4 win over the Los Angeles Dodgers. First time in 32 years the World Series has been in Canada, and the Blue Jays did not disappoint in front of the home crowd. Their 9-run sixth inning pushes them past the Dodgers. World Series play resumes tonight in the Rogers Center. It will be Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Kevin Gausman for another epic pitching duel. Toronto attempts to take a commanding 2-0 lead over the defending champs. The NBA season is underway, and the New York Knicks off to a 2-0 start in the Mike Brown era. Knicks with a 10-point win over the Celtics in the Garden last night. They head down to Miami to play the Heat for their first road game of the season tomorrow. The Brooklyn Nets with their home opener last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Nets dropped this one 131-124 to start off 0-2. They play on the road tomorrow in San Antonio to face the Spurs. Tip-off at 2 o'clock. With your one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Anthony Smith.
And thanks so much, Anthony, for that scoreboard. You'll hear from him again on the update at the end of the third quarter. But before we get into some more one-on-one analysis, we do have some of the highlights from the first half. On the opening drive of the afternoon, Hayden Johnson led his Mountain Hawks 8 plays and 49 yards down the field into the red zone, but Fordham's defense forced them to settle for 3 points.
He's holding it right past the 25. Takes the kick, spotted well, right through the uprights. 3-0 Lehigh. They're on the board first after a pretty successful first drive.
Pretty successful indeed, a 36-yard field goal by Nick Garrido. After a Fordham punt, the second Lehigh drive of the day ended in another field goal attempt after 10 plays, but this time Garrido missed it from 38 yards out.
Taking the kick right past the 25, and it is good. No good. I learned 2 weeks ago not to assume on the field goals. Didn't learn my lesson. No good on that one, just right of the right pylon, and that's a big jolt of morale for this Fordham team.
And at the start of the second quarter, Bennett Henderson left a 51-yard field goal attempt short to end a 10-play drive by the Fordham Rams. Lehigh would punt, and then Fordham would turn it over on downs before the Mountain Hawks drove 79 yards down the field, converting a fourth down on the way before quarterback Hayden Johnson took it in himself to add to Lehigh's lead.
Marenka, the tight end, in motion. Johnson keeps it and runs it in. Touchdown, Hayden Johnson with his legs, and Lehigh is on the board with a touchdown. 10-0 Mountain Hawks.
The extra point making it 10-0. Fordham would respond with their longest drive of the day, 13 plays, but only gaining 40 yards. That ended with a sack on fourth down before Fordham forced Lehigh to punt, and that brought us to the end of the first half. So 10-0 the score between the Mountain Hawks and the Fordham Rams. And Anthony, this has been a really tough game for the Fordham offense. Defensively, the Rams have showed up in some big spots, especially in that second drive, holding them to a field goal and forcing the miss. But offensively, it's Gunnar Smith and the Fordham offense have really had a hard time getting things going.
Yeah, this offense seems to not just get any part of the offense going. It's the rushing and the passing game that they can't seem to just go. Well, they get down the field into Lehigh territory a couple times, but they're unable to convert on those big third and fourth downs. We saw it fourth down and one twice. He didn't get it, and then they missed the field goal as well. Maybe questionable to go for from 51 yards out, but this Fordham offense has got to get clicking soon before it gets too late.
Yeah, Fordham turned the ball over on downs twice in that second quarter. And then, of course, you throw in a couple of punts. You throw in the missed field goal from Bennett Henderson, leaving it short from 51. Really, that's a spot where you kind of have to kick the field goal there, I think, just because Lehigh's already had 2 attempts in the game at that point, and having already missed one, you want to try and get your team on the board, try and tie the game, but kind of unfortunate that it falls short. this rushing attack from Lehigh is just so lethal. Luke Yoder, I mean, Chris said it on the broadcast. He said they were spamming him in the red zone, and I think they certainly were. They gave the ball to Yoder a lot, and he's extremely successful when they do give it to him.
Yeah, Brandon said it earlier. If it ain't broke, no need to fix it. Yoder has been really good for this offense, really big part of their game, getting them down the field. Unfortunate they only have 10 points on the board when they could have a lot more, but that's really credit to this Fordham defense, able to keep Fordham as a whole into this game right now.
Yeah, not something that we've seen from the Fordham defense in weeks past so far this year. The offense has kind of had to pick up the slack for the defense, but now it's kind of flipped the other way around. But you look at Hayden Johnson's game so far for Lehigh. He's 9 for 15 with 115 yards passing, 60% completion percentage. He's gotten 56 of those yards to his receiver, Mason Humphrey, on 3 catches. 3 catches also for, that is not the guy I was just trying to pull up, and it's still not him. All right. Green for Lehigh, who's their secondary running back. He's gotten 5 touches for just 18 yards on the ground, but he has been making an extra impact in the passing game. It's 119 total yards, or 119 passing yards for Lehigh, 88 rushing. Meanwhile, Fordham has 85 yards in the passing game. That's less than Lehigh has rushing, and just 29 on the ground. It seems like Fordham is kind of struggling to get the run game going again, which, I mean, that's been sort of a recurring theme for this Rams team.
Yeah, they obviously got to start establishing the run game better to start off this second half. It's a really big part of how this offense plays. You saw it last week. The offense struggled because the run game just wasn't there, and it's happening again this week. This time they come in to the third quarter with 0 points instead of 6 like last week, Tucker.
Yeah, and, like Fordham was going to Ricky Parks at first. He wound up with 23 yards by the end of the first half on 4 attempts. It's decent average yardage, but when you start to get away from a primary back, the run game kind of becomes less powerful. Like, they try to get the ball to Johan Lee Lewis. They gave it to him once in the running game in the first half. Jamel James, though, wound up with more carries than Ricky Parks. And so it's difficult to see the progression from week to week, where one week you think Ricky Parks is sort of standing out as RB1, and then the next week it's back to another running back by committee in the running back room. So, like, what does Fordham have to do in order to establish the run game that maybe involves, like, leaning on one guy in particular?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to run this offense where it's like you want to get everybody involved. You got 3 good playmakers right here, but it's really important to establish, okay, who's your number 1 playmaker? The guy that you know can get you 5 yards, set you up for a second down and manageable instead of getting you no gain and leaving you for a second down and long. So it's just going forward, they really got to establish who's going to be their main guy going into the second half that they can rely on to get them yards when they need it most, especially on those short 4th down and 3rd downs.
Yeah, and the 3rd and 4th downs that Fordham is not converting, but Lehigh is. Actually, Fordham and Lehigh are matched on converted 3rd downs. Fordham is 4 for 8. Lehigh is 4 for 9. But you look at the 4th down efficiency, Fordham has turned the ball over on downs twice, whereas Lehigh has gone for it on 4th down once. They converted and then turned that drive into a touchdown. Gunnar Smith passing, though, technically, he's had a better game so far than Hayden Johnson in terms of completion percentage. He's 10 for 15, but it's for significantly less yards. He's only got 85 yards in the passing game, and you tack on the fact that Gunnar Smith has also been sacked 3 times, and in some pretty inopportune situations as well. One of those sacks coming on the 4th down, Fordham's last turnover on downs.
Yeah, Gunnar Smith really playing a pretty clean game, I would say. Obviously, the yards, you would like it to be over 100 by this point of the game, only having 85, but he's distributing the ball nicely to his receivers. It's maybe just try and take more shots down the field. They're going a lot of short passes here. Try and take a shot down the field, catch this Lehigh defense maybe off guard, and then get your playmakers involved, guys that you know that can make a catch down the sideline, which can lead you to a big offensive drive coming into this 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and you look at the explosive plays, too, for both of these teams. The longest passing play for the Mountain Hawks so far this afternoon was a 30-yard play to Mason Humphrey. Meanwhile, for the Fordham Rams, their longest play from scrimmage was a 15-yard rush from Ricky Parks. In the passing game, they have a 13-yard reception for Jabril Carter. Carter has 4 catches for 44 yards. Noden Tracy has 3 catches for 23 yards. So like you said, Gunnar Smith is doing a good job of distributing the football, getting it to his receivers. It's just not for as many yards as you would hope, and it's also not these plays aren't being linked together to create a full, complete drive. I mean, the closest that Fordham has gotten in terms of like an opportunity to score was that 51-yard field goal. So it kind of becomes an issue, especially when you're down by 10, down by 2 scores. Now Fordham is in a place where they might not necessarily be settling for a field goal when they come out for the start of the second half. They might be trying to score that touchdown early to try and get it back to within 3. So I suppose the question that arises here is, how do you approach this second half? It's a 10-point deficit. It's not completely out of reach yet for the Fordham Rams, but this is a very well-oiled Lehigh team that's undefeated still to this point for a reason.
I think you really just got to be aggressive coming into this third quarter. Down by 10, the offense is struggling to get yards, get points on the board, convert in the big third downs. I think they just got to take a shot down the field, try and get some big chunk plays, see if they can get the momentum going on a offensive drive to start off the third quarter. If I'm Fordham, I'm sort of liking the position I'm in right now with an undefeated Lehigh team, only down by 10. It could be worse. They've had Lehigh has had some good opportunities. Fordham's defense able to slam the door on those and only hold Lehigh to 3 points at that opening drive and then only 1 touchdown. So I don't know, Tucker, about what do you think, but I think Fordham's pretty much in a decent spot right now.
Yeah, no, definitely not in they're not in an overly dangerous scenario, although like this is sort of the place where one more score and things could start to get out of hand. But like you said, they've been playing a very clean game. I don't think, like defensively especially, they've been doing everything in their power to keep their offense in this football game. Also notable that Fordham does not have any penalties yet in this game, and they're averaging roughly a little over 5 penalties per game so far this year. So they've been penalized 0 times. Meanwhile, Lehigh has picked up 3 penalty flags for 32 yards. But the problem for Fordham in this game has really been the protection. Fordham leads the Patriot League in sacks allowed now with 28. They allowed 3 in that first half. Meanwhile, Lehigh has only allowed 2 sacks in the entire season, so they do a great job protecting their quarterback. The offense, I think it's clear at this point, the offensive line needs to protect Gunnar Smith in the second half.
Yeah, in order for Fordham to come out and try and win this game, you need Gunnar Smith to be efficient, and with that, you need your offensive line to perform and give Gunnar Smith time to throw the ball and distribute like he's been doing in this first half. I mean, he's been doing really good so far with the protection that he's been getting. If they can just get Gunnar Smith a couple more seconds in the pocket, and it could be a real game changer, maybe leading to a possible big play for this Fordham offense.
Well, 10-0, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks lead the Fordham Rams. That's going to do it for us on the halftime show. Myself and Anthony Smith will be back for the postgame, but now we'll send it to a break before we send it back to Moglia Stadium with Chris Carrino and Brendan Shorey for the second half of action between Lehigh and Fordham.
Hey everyone, it's linebacker James Conway, and you're listening to Fordham Football on 90.7 FM WFUV Sports. Let's go Rams!
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Back here in the Bronx, more specifically Moglia Stadium on the campus of Fordham University, I'm Chris Carrino with the pleasure of being joined by my partner Brendan Shorey. 10-0 after a first half of football here in the Bronx. A 10-0 lead for the Lehigh Mountain Hawks. A scoreless first half for the Rams. Brendan, that all doesn't sound necessarily great, but I think if you ask a lot of people walking around here, this game's a lot closer than most anticipated.
Yeah, and Chris, when we talked to Coach Conlon earlier this week, he said there's no such thing as moral victories, but you have to be a little happy with yourself at the place where you're at, where you have one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Patriot League, coming in to your own home stadium, and you're down 10 at half, you get the ball, you have the chance to go make it a one-possession game, and you look at how this team has played. They've had a couple of possessions where they got into field goal range, borderline field goal range, and have had chances, have been stopped on fourth down twice. They've had the opportunities, they just haven't been able to convert on them.
And we've talked a lot about how good this Lehigh team is. You just mentioned them maybe being the best team in the conference. Over the last half decade or so, they weirdly have bad numbers coming off the bye, not counting the 3-game season in 2021. Lehigh is 3-8 dating back to 2014 off the bye week. One of those 3 wins was in 2019 here at Fordham at Moglia Stadium. That was the last win Lehigh had here at Moglia Stadium. So, as much of a powerhouse and as intimidating as this Lehigh squad can be, maybe coming off the bye, they just seem to maybe be a different squad.
And it's an interesting thing to see because typically when you see teams that have these bye weeks, it gives them a chance to, 1, get healthy, 2, gives you an extra week to game plan, and 3, just kind of fine-tune anything that had kind of gone wrong beginning of the season. But performing so poorly, I guess, is one word you could use. Performing so poorly coming off bye is very interesting to see, and it's going to be interesting to see how it affects them going into the second half.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, Fordham coming off 2 losses, had to win 3 weeks ago. The game last weekend, you did the game with Tucker against Dartmouth. That game was not out of reach by any means. That was a 16-13 game after a Freeburg touchdown with 11 minutes left, and then 2 Dartmouth touchdowns after that really kind of put the game away. But with that touchdown in the fourth quarter, at the middle point of the fourth quarter, Fordham was, for all intents and purposes, in that game.
Yeah, they were absolutely in a 6-6 tie at that half. A 3-point game halfway through that fourth quarter, and just kind of a meltdown from the Fordham offense from that point on, where they just couldn't convert on anything, kept giving Dartmouth the ball back, and Dartmouth was able to go down and take advantage of that. But you mentioned, Chris, by no means was that the score really kind of show how close that game was.
No, absolutely not, and that's been a theme for this Fordham team all season long, the scoreboard maybe being less flattering to Fordham than the actual game.
Yeah, it has, and we've seen it's a lot of second half unanswered points, and that was a big theme with those first few games of the season. Especially look at that game against Boston College, is kind of like the big one for that, where you go and you give 14, 21, 28 even points unanswered in that second half, and then obviously whatever was happening in the first half, where maybe it was a very close game, it balloons and it looks like you got destroyed, but in reality, you played them tough in the first half, and then just a few mistakes that kind of snowballed into a lot of points scored against you just show a very different result on the scoreboard.
And to the point you're getting at, Lehigh 106-52. That's the score. That's the combined score of their first halves this season. 55-28 in second quarter specifically. So Fordham maybe dodging a bullet a little bit in that first half, but they, as you said, have had trouble in second halves. Cannot let this game snowball into something that is out of reach.
Yeah, it seems like they've had whether it's trouble with adjustments or trouble with adjustments that their opponent makes, they just haven't seemed to have kind of that edge in the second half that they seem to have had in the first half in a majority of their games this season. Now, the past few games, it has shifted a little bit where we have seen some success, a little bit of success in the second half. Take away that Dartmouth game, but you go back a few weeks, that Holy Cross game where they won, their win of the season, a lot of success in that second half, Chris.
ton of success in that second half. And then even just thinking about the head-to-head history of these two teams, Lehigh and Fordham. Lehigh gets the victory at home last season. That was 33-19. It was snapping a 3-game win streak Fordham had going against Lehigh. It seems like maybe the big brother, little brother sort of dynamic of these two slightly shifting.
Yeah, it does seem like it's slightly shifting. I mean, Lehigh comes in a Patriot League powerhouse this year, so that obviously does help them in that kind of big brother, little brother relationship.
Getting ready to kick it off for the second half. It'll be Lehigh kicking it off. They kick it away. It'll be called for a fair catch by Fordham, and that's how they'll start. They'll start on their own 25.
Interesting to see Worrell right there calling the fair catch. They usually let him kind of have his way with these returns. He gets the freedom to choose where he wants to return it, when he wants to return it. This time, obviously, choosing not to return it and just take the free yardage given with the touchback.
Yeah, Connor Poole sending a high beaming kick on that one to start the half. It was Jacob Rodriguez along with Troy Wool back to receive that one. Nonetheless, Fordham going to start on their own 25. Fordham still without a score in this game. They'll try to add their first score of the afternoon on this first drive in the second half. Gunnar Smith at the 25 in the shotgun to start the drive. Claps for the snap. And it'll be a run up the middle by Ricky Parks getting 2 or 3 yards, and that'll be how the drive starts. Not the drive starter they necessarily wanted.
Not the most ideal drive starter here, but you have to take it with a grain of salt. It was a run that did gain positive yards. They didn't get tackled behind the line, so not a terrible drive starter as well.
It's going to set up 2nd and 9 after the 1-yard gain. Smith in the shotgun. Parks to his left. Drops back to pass. Heavy pressure. Evading pressure. Rolling out right. Now running. Past the 30. Taken down at the 35. Around 9 yards on that completion. A little bit of a collision at the end. He loses the ball. I believe he was down. He wasn't.
One ref motioning Lehigh ball. From up here, it appeared as if Gunnar Smith willingly gave himself up.
Yeah, it seemed like the play was over.
It did. It looked like he went into some sort of slide dive combination where he just ended up sliding forward and his legs hit as he was crossing that first down.
I believe it's going to stay with the Rams.
Is a fumble recovered by the defense. Previous play is under review.
So the call on the field there, it was ruled a fumble on the turf, ruled to Lehigh. So on the field, Lehigh got the ball on a fumble. It's now going to a review, and we'll see what that review entails.
And Chris, I don't imagine that this stands. It looked pretty clear from up here, in my opinion, that Gunnar Smith gave himself up, was going down, his knees were on the ground, and then that ball came out afterwards.
A awkward play for Gunnar Smith that could lead to disaster for this Fordham team. A 10-0 deficit right now, not completely out of the question, not even out of where they can see. They're very much in front of them metaphorically right now, but with a score or even a turnover here, a lot of that momentum, a lot of that mojo changes.
And Chris, it's this coming at the end of a play where it already looked like Gunnar Smith was dead back there in the pocket, but he shows his pocket awareness yet again, steps up, is fighting off defenders, and looks like he's in the clear, looks like he has the easy first down picked up. And then this happens at the very end of the play. If this ruling stays, huge momentum shifter in favor of Lehigh.
Massive momentum shifter. Lehigh was marching at the end of the half, had a chance to go up 3 scores around the end zone, ended up just being up 10 going into the half. Should have probably been up more, and now could go up even more with a mistake from Fordham. An unforced mistake, I think, is the most frustrating part.
Yeah, an unforced error there. It really is. Those are the things that are frustrating for a team, is the unforced errors. I mean, if you have an All-American come in and peanut punch that ball out, then you can kind of say, well, fantastic play. But an unforced error here with that ball coming out. It looks like the refs are coming back out.
The runner was down at the 35.
Runner was down on the field is the call. And so Fordham will hold on to the ball, avoiding disaster narrowly.
Yeah, they rule him down. It's what it looked like from up here. Fordham avoids a very costly mistake there, Chris.
Fordham avoids disaster, and they got to get back on the right page. 1st and 10 after the Gunnar Smith run, ball on their own 35. And Fordham still looking for their first score. Gunnar Smith in the shotgun, 3 receivers to his left. Ricky Parks directly to his right. Gives it to Ricky Parks. Runs past the 35, gets to the 37, and that'll be around 3 yards on the gain, setting up second down.
Yeah, solid run there by Ricky Parks, and it didn't really look like there was a hole that was opening up for him, but he finds a little crease, is able to leapfrog his way up for a few.
2 yards on that gain, 2nd and 8. Ball still on the 37. Still in Fordham territory. Smith in the shotgun. Jamel James now to his left in the backfield. And he gives it to Jamel James. Jamel James right up the middle to the 40, down at the 39. Another 2-yard gain for Fordham, setting up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, Chris, this is what we're talking about, making it so it's not a 3rd and long. A 3rd and medium is very manageable for the Fordham offense.
2 yards on that gain, 3rd and 6. Big 3rd down for the Rams. Ball on their own 39. 13:20 and counting on this 3rd quarter clock. Smith claps for the snap. Looking to pass, and he is blown up in the backfield. 3 or 4 D linemen from Lehigh all over it, and Smith is crushed for the sack.
Lehigh goes with a cover 1 blitz. What this means is they have 4 guys lined up on receivers. They have 1 safety sitting over the top, and everyone else is coming at the quarterback. That time, a free rusher gets to Gunnar Smith. Coming from the secondary, is able to get to Gunnar Smith for the sack.
A massive play on 3rd down, not only to lose yards for the Rams, but also turn the ball back over to themselves. Lehigh now getting the ball on a punt. Will Hazlitt out there to kick it off. Actually, not Will Hazlitt. Dominic Sansone out there to kick it off.
Our very own, Chris, our very own.
FUV's own Dominic Sansone standing in between the 15 and 20 to kick this one off. He does. Long booming kick from Sansone. Caught at the 20. Not fair call. It's going to be taken out. Past the 35. Past the 40. Big blindside block. Garners multiple flags on the field. Eventually the returner's taken down past the 45, before the 40. But a massive hit on a block behind him past the 50. And a player's still down after that play. 3 flags on the field.
Chris, we could see that one coming from a mile away, and every single ref on the field saw it too. You have a Lehigh special teamer coming back and trying to set a block, let his guy get the edge. A Fordham defender following, trying to stay in phase with the returner, and the Lehigh special teamer just crushes him with the block.
Lehigh faithful not happy with that call. One of the largest groups of fans we've seen all season long, a large contingency from Lehigh showing up this afternoon. They got to be excited about their team, undefeated and almost unchallenged this season.
Undefeated. They have a fantastic running game, a fantastic offense. Their defense has been very good this season. 2-0 in conference with real hopes of winning the Patriot League this year.
Yeah, real hopes of winning the Patriot League. Lafayette, their big rival. Those 2 teams, as prevalent as any other 2 teams, have been in the conference, and it seems that they just one-up each other every year. Lehigh taking that one-upsmanship this year.
Yeah, and Chris, both those teams, the top 2 teams right now in terms of Patriot League standings, Lafayette technically has the edge because they are 3-0 in conference compared to Lehigh's 2-0 in conference. But if you look at overall record, Lehigh does have Lafayette beat.
Yeah, Lehigh looking for that 3rd straight Patriot League victory this season. Fordham looking for their 2nd Patriot League victory this season. 3 weeks ago, their victory against Holy Cross, their first win and win in the conference of the season.
Yeah, and it was a good one. It was a get-on-track win for Fordham, and obviously since then they've dropped their past 2 games, one of which was a conference game, one of which was out of conference against Dartmouth last week, which was kind of serving as a tune-up game, fine-tune things, get ready, get back on track for the rest of conference play. But you mentioned it, Chris, looking to get their 2nd conference win of the season.
Looking for their 2nd conference win. We have a bit of a delay here. I think it's a review on the penalty. So both teams are
looks like a TV timeout here.
TV timeout. Refs are all in a group talking on the field or next to Orange Arms, the man who lets you know when a commercial will come back.
I was about to mention him too. One of the cool things I learned recently, I say recently in the past few months, was every field is going to have the guy with the neon orange gloves, and that guy, basically, his job is to go stand on the field during TV timeouts, and then when the timeout is over, he walks off the field. But he's always in coordination with the production side of things.
And he's coming off the field now. Timeout is over. Both teams break from their huddle, and Lehigh will start their drive after some fireworks on that punt play.
Big fireworks, big illegal blindside block, and we'll see how that kind of shifts the momentum, how it affects the momentum shift here, Chris.
That return was taken out all the way to midfield with the penalty. They're back all the way to the 20. They'll start this drive on their own 20. 1st and 10. Johnson in the shotgun to start this Lehigh drive, trying to go up 3 scores. Green in motion, giving it to Green. Green going right to left, then cuts back to the middle of the field, eventually taken down before the 25. Call it 4 yards on the game.
And Chris, we've seen this motion a few times so far this game with Jaden Green going in a jet sweep action where Johnson ends up keeping the ball or pulling it and throwing it. This time he actually does hand it off to Green.
Be a 2nd and 6 after the 4-yard gain. Ball on the 24. Ball on Lehigh's own 24, 11:50 and counting to go in this 3rd quarter. Johnson back to pass. Throws it in the flat to his tight end. Taken down almost immediately by a linebacker, but a 1st down and a moving of the chains for this Lehigh offense.
Joseph Moronka, the tight end there. Just a very quick throw. Johnson gets the snap, 2-step drop, and gets that ball out quickly.
It'll be 1st down for Lehigh, moving the chains now at the 30-yard line. Ball at their own 30. Johnson in the shotgun. A tight end in the backfield, playing fullback. Now Johnson moving out wide once again. It's Maholnick playing running back, the backup quarterback. He fakes the jet sweep, then runs it up the middle. Maholnick is stopped almost immediately. And Conway gets a tackle on the play that may seem insignificant, but on the contrary, it is very significant. That tackle makes James Conway the career leader in FCS tackles. A mark that I don't think anybody would realistically think that they can achieve.
Would realistically, a mark that seems unimaginable.
Unreal, yeah.
Unimaginable to many, and they're announcing it on the PA system as we speak. James Conway getting a huge round of applause.
A massive moment for James Conway. The Lehigh offense doesn't stop. Johnson, throw over the middle, right out of the hands of Joffrey Jamil. It'll be incomplete, and that'll set up 3rd down.
Not sure if that throw was for Jamil or for Davino there. That throw looked high for Jamil, but you have Davino running a corner route kind of right behind him. That throw just kind of in the middle of no man's land.
Lehigh wasn't very festive about the record being broken. Offense started almost immediately, and that sets up 3rd and 7. Big play in their own territory for the Mountain Hawks. Mountain Leopards getting my rivalries confused. 10:30 to go in this 3rd quarter, 3rd down. Johnson settles into the shotgun. Yoder directly to his left, 3 receivers to his right. 3rd and 7 on their own 33. Claps for the snap. Drops back. 3-step drop back. Throws it over the middle. Crushed as he was hit, and it was caught. What a play on both ends. Matt Davino making a contested grab, and Hayden Johnson delivering that pass after getting crushed, Brendan.
Drew Minnick, the safety for Fordham, gets a free rush and a free chance to hit Johnson, and he absolutely delivers on that hit. He crushes Johnson back there, but Johnson just steps up, wears that hit, and delivers a perfect ball down the field.
It's a 1st down, obviously, after the large play. Ball now on Fordham's 39, past the 50, well past the 50. Johnson in the shotgun, Yoder right behind him. Gives the handoff to Yoder, goes left and decides to cut through the middle. Gets tackled almost immediately. It'll be around 3 to 4 yards on the gain, and that's how they'll start off this set of downs.
Great job by the Fordham defensive line and linebacking units here. They're able to get penetration and push Yoder back inside to where the rest of their defensive help is.
Fordham defense doing a good job not letting this Lehigh run game control this entire game. 9:20 to go in this 3rd quarter. 2nd and 8. Johnson fakes the handoff, drops back to pass, looking end zone, has a man, and it's caught. Joffrey Jamil diving and catching, finally down around the 5-yard line. What a throw from Hayden Johnson, and what a catch from Joffrey Jamil.
Fantastic concentration there by Jamil. He's running a crossing route from right to left, gets back behind his defender, and it has to do a jump, turn around back towards the quarterback, hands catch up above his head. Fantastic grab.
Jamil, 182 yards in their last matchup against Columbia. That was a career high. Jamil has established himself as the wide receiver 1 for this program. First and goal, 1st and 7. to the goal line. 8:28 to go in this third quarter. Johnson gives the snap to Yoder. Yoder gets in. Touchdown, Lehigh. Yoder breaks through on that far sideline and gets in, squeaks in right by the pylon for 6.
Outside zone run play here. The offensive line of Lehigh does so good at not letting Fordham set the edge. Yoder is able to escape to the outside and is able to walk into the end zone.
The Lehigh faithful very happy about that one. And the Mountain Hawks go up 3 scores on this Saturday afternoon. Extra point attempt going up now. He hits the extra point, 17-0 Lehigh lead, 8:21 to go in this third quarter. Lehigh really asserting their dominance now.
Yeah, fantastic drive from them. And the thing is that we saw in this drive, it came primarily through the passing game, Chris, something that is a huge switch up from the first half where their long touchdown drive was pounding the rock, keeping that clock moving, and just asserting their dominance in the trenches. This time, instead, passing the ball down the field, especially with that long pass from Johnson where he absolutely got crushed, but their ability to pass the ball down the field, and then whenever the yards become short, whenever the field shrinks down in the red zone, run the ball effectively.
Lehigh, 3-score lead now over the Rams. Fordham still without a score this afternoon. Gunnar Smith and his offense need to get a score on this next drive if they want to stay competitive and keep this one close to its infancy.
Yeah, a score is an absolute must now. They have to go down and get something. Make it a 2-possession game at the very least. A field goal at this point of the game is okay for this Fordham offense. You just have to get something going.
Yeah, a field goal is okay. Not scoring here is not okay.
Not scoring is not okay. Obviously, a touchdown is the goal, but you can settle for 3 here. There's enough time left in the game where if you go settle for 3, make it a 2-possession game, you have plenty of time to keep going and go down and score 2 more times.
5, 4, 3,
the Fordham Rams,
2, 1.
1 win on the season. Similar to what you were saying, Brendan, when second halves start, it seems to be the time when Fordham loses their closeness with their opponent, and it seems to be when they just lose the plot of these games.
Yeah, they seem to crumble a little bit in the second half, and what I think it is you have a second half, and if you start that slowly, I think for this Fordham team, it's like dominoes. One thing after another keeps falling. It's all snowballs.
And the Gunnar Smith fumble was very on brand for what you were talking about. It ended up not standing after the review, but that was almost exactly what's been happening to this Fordham team all season long.
Yeah, it's simple mistakes, but they add up. It's a simple mistake there. If that fumble was, if it stood, then you have the Lehigh offense go down and score, and then it's a 3-possession game like it is now, but then you get the ball back, you're coming off of a drive like that, you have no momentum, and then it's just so hard to get things going at that point.
It'll be Lehigh to kick this one back off to the Rams. Connor Poole once again going back there to kick it off. It'll be Troy Worrell set up on the goal line for the Rams to return this one. As we said, a massive drive for the Rams. Rams need a score. 3.5 quarters of football scoreless for the Rams. Rams need to change that. Here comes Poole. In his gold helmet, full white uniforms, kicking that one off. Worrell will catch it and take it out. Past the 10, Worrell trying to squeeze past a few Lehigh defenders, eventually taken down at the 15. Maybe not the best idea to take that one out.
No, a couple of missed blocks there by some Fordham special teamers, and the Lehigh kickoff unit was able to get to Worrell pretty quickly.
Fordham in their full maroon home uniforms, maroon helmet, maroon jerseys, maroon pants, white lettering and numbering. Lehigh in their away full white uniforms, all white with a gold helmet, really clean look. Lehigh has great colors.
They have fantastic jerseys, Chris. You're a jersey guy. They have fantastic jerseys.
I am a jersey guy. Fordham offense starting on the 16-yard line, their own 16-yard line. They go right to left. Lehigh goes left to right. Smith in the shotgun, takes the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls out left, tries to throw it to Worrell, who was running toward the sideline. That was incomplete. It'll set up second down.
Yeah, that throw just got away from Gunnar Smith. He had a couple of guys open there, but 2 defenders in his face. You got to kind of change the arm angle on that throw just to get it through. This one just falls incomplete.
After the incompletion, 2nd and 10. Ball still on their own 16. Smith claps for the snap. gives it to Parks. Parks goes right up the middle, almost got through the entire pile, eventually gets taken down past the 20 for around a 4-yard gain.
Good job there by Parks, just finding the smallest crease and wiggling through, able to pick up about 4 or 5 yards.
After the 4 or 5 yard pickup, 3rd and 6. A 3rd and manageable for the Fordham offense. 7:45 and counting on this third quarter clock. Time ticking down on the Rams. Smith receives the snap, throws it. An absolute bullet in and out of the hands of his receiver. And that'll be, once again, another 3rd and 3 and out for the Rams. Jabril Carter on the drop.
That play was doomed from the start. You have Cooper LaFon, the starting left tackle. He's in an upright position, I guess, looking for kind of some sort of play call, some sort of sign. And he is in a fully upright position when that ball is snapped.
FUV's own Dominic Sansone back out there to punt it off for the Rams. Another disappointing drive for Fordham.
Another disappointing drive, Chris. We said points were a must on this drive. Fortunately, it didn't go that way for Fordham.
Sansone kicks it off. Another beautiful kick. Picked up at the 40. Shoelace tackle unsuccessful. Returner still running, eventually taken down past the 50 right before the 45-yard line. Another decent return. Peltekian has been as good as any returner we've seen play Fordham all year long.
Peltekian has been great today. I mean, just his vision alone, finding these openings on this special teams unit. He's able to find these holes that a lot of people wouldn't be able to find, and he's been great for this Lehigh special teams.
Back out there for Lehigh, their offense. Yoder and Green, the dynamic 1-2 punch duo of running backs. Both backs top 20 in yards per carry this season. Yoder 6.9, Green 6.5. There's a certain level of consistency, Brendan, that comes with this Lehigh offense that just makes them so dangerous.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get. You know exactly what you're going to get from these guys day in, day out. And if they're in the off chance that one of these guys isn't running the ball well, you got another guy who's running it just as well all season long.
Yeah, and we even talked about it earlier. Johnson and Maholnick, the two quarterbacks of this Lehigh team, just as big threats in the run game as their running backs behind them.
And it adds a whole other element to it. As a defense, you have to be wary of the quarterback and his ability to keep that ball and take it himself. You can't, when you key in on the run, you can't just key in on these running backs. You have to keep a guy with his eyes on the quarterback, which makes it so much more difficult for everyone trying to tackle whoever has the ball.
And we talk about the benefit of the run game and establishing that run game. It opens up the pass in the same way that a really mobile quarterback that you have in the backfield is going to open up a lot of options for your offense.
Yeah, you open up a lot. You unlock another section of the playbook, if you will. You unlock that ability to use those quarterback keepers, use those plays where you have the quarterback just scrambling out of the pocket, moving the pocket out on play action bootlegs, stuff like that, where you're able to use his mobility as to your advantage.
This Lehigh offense is dynamic. Even talking about Joffrey Jamil, the biggest play for this Lehigh offense all afternoon long. He had a massive reception on their last drive, and he has been a superstar for this team all season long. There's superstars all over the place for this Lehigh team.
Yeah, and Jamil came into this game leading the team in receptions, leading the team in receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. And when I say leading the team in receptions, I don't just mean leading the team in receptions. He had more than double the receptions of their second leading receiver.
He's really leading in
Mason Humphrey. He came into this game with 41 receptions on the year. The second guy, Mason Humphrey, 20 receptions on the year coming into this game. So he is their guy in the passing game.
Lehigh coming back on the field to start their offensive drive after the punt. Nice turnout here at Moglia Stadium today between Lehigh and Fordham faithful. A lot of seats filled here in the Bronx. This drive will start for Lehigh at the 45. Fordham's 45, just past the 50. Johnson once again going out wide, their quarterback. Mahalik is in the backfield in the quarterback role. Mahalik passing, trying to find his quarterback on the far sideline, just out of reach. They ran almost a Philly special sort of play there. Mahalik, just too much air on that football.
That play was so creative.
Talk them through that a little bit.
You have Jaden Green coming on the end around. Maholnick hands it off to him. As he goes across from left to right, you have Johnson going from right to left. Green pitches it back to Johnson, who then looks for Maholnick running down the sideline on the left side. It's just an overthrow.
just an overthrow, but fantastic design from this Lehigh team, specifically their offense. Johnson on the next drive, on the next play, handing it off to Green. Green right around the 45, getting around 2 or 3 yards on the carry. That'll set up third down.
Yeah, and a great job, again, by this Fordham defensive line. It seems like, aside from the one big drive they had in the first half for Lehigh, this defensive line has been pretty good against the run today.
Defensive line has held their own. Lehigh is known to really run up teams and run all over teams. Fordham done a good job of containing that so far. Yoder in the backfield in the running back position for Lehigh. Johnson in the shotgun. Receivers stacked on both sides in the slot. 3rd and 9. Ball on Fordham's 44. Takes the snap. Johnson, 3-step drop. Receiving pressure, has to move around. Throws it on the run, and it's caught. Past the 30, Lehigh converts. And another fantastic play from this Lehigh offense. That time it was Anthony Feaster on the catch.
And Chris, that is why Johnson is so dangerous, because he can create things out of nowhere. He's like a magician back there in the pocket. You see nothing open downfield. You keep moving, keep your feet moving, keep buying yourself time. You're able to scramble and find something at the very end.
Ball on the 28, Fordham's 28 after the completion. 1st and 10. 5:55 and counting on this third quarter clock. Johnson motioning over a wide receiver. Fakes the handoff, runs it himself. Johnson past the line, taken down past the 20. Another nice run for Johnson.
Yeah, and what we've seen so far today is this Lehigh offense uses a lot of misdirection, Chris. A lot of those jet sweep actions where you have running backs and receivers going from left to right, right to left. As they snap it, fake the handoff, and take it yourself.
After the pickup, 2nd and 2. Ball on Fordham's 20. Right at the start of the red zone there. Receivers on both sides. Green behind Johnson in the shotgun. Johnson directing his offensive line. Fordham waiting with fainted breath on the line. Handed off right up the middle. Green finding a hole. Now in the secondary, past the 5, trying to muscle his way in the end zone. Eventually bullied out of bounds by 3 or 4 Fordham players. And he'll be right around the goal line. They'll be down right around the 2 or 3. What a run from Jaden Green, the sophomore.
A fantastic run, but also a great tackle there by Alex Kemper, the defensive back, who is
folded in half,
who is greatly outweighed and outstrengthened by the running back in Jaden Green, but he's able to bring him down at the 1 with then a unsportsmanlike coming after the play as well.
That one's going to be on the grad student, the DN, Jack Lowe for Fordham, picking up that unsportsmanlike. That moves up Lehigh all the way to the 1-yard line.
About a half a yard.
Yeah, just not too much on the gain there. 4:48 left to go in this third quarter. Lehigh on the precipice of scoring. 17-0, trying to make it a 4-score lead. Johnson in the shotgun, hands it off to Green. Green right up the middle. He's in. Touchdown. Green dives over the goal line and scores another touchdown for Lehigh with their legs.
And Jaden Green so strong on this run, just powers through. The Fordham defensive line does a decent job not letting the offensive line push them back, but Green just so strong, puts his head down, and keeps his legs churning to get the touchdown.
Extra point going up right now, a 4-score lead for Lehigh. This one seemed close for almost 2.5 quarters, but now where we are in the current moment doesn't seem as close.
Doesn't seem as close, but Chris, the beautiful thing about this is still a 3-possession game if you are able to convert on 2-point conversions every single time.
Glass half full kind of guy.
Glass half full. You got to be glass half full right now. There is still a decent amount of time left, about 20 minutes left of game time between the just under 5 minutes here and then the 15 in the fourth quarter. So decent amount of time left, but now is when we said it last drive, but you absolutely have to score on this drive.
Yeah. And even to your point earlier when you were talking about it, I think this Fordham team, from a certain perspective, when these third quarters start, or when they come out of the locker room at the half, something happens, and it really hamstrings this team, not only in that third quarter, but then getting back in the game at all.
Yeah, and it just seems like whenever small things happen, it just seems like whether it gets in their head and they're not able to kind of forget it, but it just builds upon itself throughout the remainder of the game.
Connor Poole kicking it off once again. His third kickoff of the quarter. Sends that one flying. Troy Worrell won't pick it up. He'll let it drop out by the end zone. A flag. It just hit the last hash and went out of bounds before it could go through the end zone. That's going to be a flag, and it's also going to help out Fordham's field position.
That is going to help out Fordham's field position in a huge way. But that one you mentioned, just so close to being a touchback. Just an unfortunate break for Lehigh, but Fordham ends up taking the lucky side of this one.
Seems like Lehigh can afford an unfortunate break at this current stage of the game.
It seems like they are more than capable of handling it.
So after the penalty, a 10-yard gain on the penalty, Fordham will start at the 35. Fordham at their own 35, 1st and 10. Smith claps for the snap. Jamel James directly to his left. Fakes the handoff, throws it over the middle, ball in the air. It was tipped off of the pads of the Fordham wide receiver and was up in the air. Lehigh couldn't quite grab it, but ball was up for grabs for around 5 seconds there.
Yeah, Jack Freeberg, the guy the pass was intended for, and it ends up hitting him. It looks right in the chest. Did it get tipped? Did it not? I don't know, but that ball just popped straight up into the air.
After the incompletion, 2nd and 10. Same spot on the 35. Smith scanning the field. Throwing a dump off to Lee Lewis. He's tackled from behind. A running back screen that went wrong ends up in not many yards for this Fordham offense. No yards for this Fordham offense. An actual loss of yards there. That sets up 3rd and 11. Ball on the 34.
Cole Hughes, the guy in coverage, just sniffs out this screen from the jump. Lee Lewis has nowhere to go with this ball.
Smith trying to convert on 3rd down, 3rd and 11. Ball on Fordham's own 34-yard line in the shotgun. Fakes the handoff to Parks. Gets a lot of company in the backfield, moves up in the pocket, then decides to run past the 40. Finally pushed out of bounds at the 45. I believe that's a 1st down.
And Chris, that play is all Gunnar Smith. That pocket absolutely collapses on him. He finds the only hole available, is able to sneak through, stiff arms a guy on the way, and picks up the 1st down.
Gunnar Smith didn't see anything, so he did it himself. 1st down for the Rams. 1st and 10. Ball still on their own still in their own territory on the 46. Parks fakes the handoff. Smith to throw. Tried to find Worrell on that far sideline. Couldn't quite get it to him. It'll be another incompletion for Gunnar Smith, setting up 2nd down. Incompletions on 1st down, Brendan, have been really a tough part of the offense for this Fordham team, not only because they don't have success on 1st down, it hurts their 2nd and 3rd down, but also it just seems like they lose yards. They've had multiple 3rd downs this evening that are past 10 yards.
Yeah, they have, and it's something that you really have to put an emphasis on in the second half.
Smith in the shotgun, takes the snap, fakes the handoff once again, thrown on the near sideline, batted down at the line. Fantastic play once again from this Lehigh D-line, and that'll set up 3rd and long.
Hoyski, the guy there who is able to get his hand up, and he reads Gunnar Smith. Where's he looking? Sees he's looking right behind him, gets his hands up and just knocks that pass down, and another 3rd and long here, Chris.
After the batted ball, 3rd and 10. Ball at the Fordham 46. Gunnar Smith by himself in the backfield. Parks motions over to his left. Some movement there on the line. Smith changing the play, looking at his sideline. 3 receivers to his right, none to his left. In the shotgun, communicating with his line. 3rd and 10. Smith claps. A phantom clap, then a real clap. Drops back to pass. Moves up, escaping pressure in the pocket. Now running past the 50. At the 45, taking contact. Finally down at the 44. Another great play by Gunnar Smith.
And this Lehigh defense even had a guy spying Gunnar Smith, making sure that he wouldn't try and run, but Gunnar Smith's so good with his legs, he's able to juke him out and go pick up the 1st.
1st and 10 now in Lehigh territory. Ball at the 44 of Lehigh. Smith once again in the shotgun. Lee Lewis to his right. 3 receivers stacked to his right. 2:50 to go in this 3rd quarter. Smith claps for the snap. Fakes the handoff, throws. Over the middle, it's caught. Benton on the catch. Over the middle, and that's another 1st down for the Rams. The Rams are moving, Brendan.
The Rams are moving, and Gunnar Smith is playing fantastic right now. This is possibly the best ball we've seen him play all day.
And it seems like this Fordham offense has almost abandoned the run game.
It seems as if they have, Chris.
Another play, 1st and 10. Fordham working quickly. Fake handoff by Smith, drops back, throws, near sideline, it's caught! Jaden Allen on the grab, and he's down right around the 5-yard line. Another great play for Fordham. Fordham back to back to back, maybe their 3 best plays of the afternoon.
And this one beautiful, a double move. Gunnar Smith pump fakes the short route. Jaden Allen on the wheel route down the left sideline, and a fantastic hands catch from him on the back end.
Season highs in receptions and yards for Jaden Allen last week against Dartmouth. It's going to be another first down. Right outside of 1st and goal. 1st and 10, and that'll be swallowed up almost immediately. An inside zone from Lee Lewis. D linemen are all over it for Lehigh. 1 yard on the game. 1 yard gain there.
Yeah, and Chris, down in the red zone is where the field shrinks, is where you really have to be good at running the ball. You have less field to work with. You have more guys in that secondary occupying less space. You have to be able to run the ball down here.
2nd and 8. Ball on Lehigh's 8-yard line. 1:20 and counting on this 3rd quarter clock. Smith in the shotgun. Takes the snap. 3-step drop to pass. Rolls right. Evading pressure. Still rolling right. And throws it away in the back of the end zone. A frantic play there for Gunnar Smith. Doesn't end up in anything, but also doesn't end up in disaster.
Yeah, Gunnar Smith is trying to make something happen here with his
as hard
feet.
as he can.
He is trying his absolute hardest, avoiding defenders back in the pocket. Looks like a late flag here.
Some frustration from Lehigh defenders. It must be on them.
Illegal substitution, it looks like, unsportsmanlike conduct.
Wow, number 10, William Parton, the senior linebacker, picking up an unsportsmanlike, and he moves Fordham even closer than they were.
Even closer, and it halved their distance and gave them a new set of downs as well.
New set of downs. It was about to be a 3rd down around the 5-yard line. It's now 1st and goal right around the 4. So from going from 3rd down on the 8-yard line to 1st down on the 4-yard line. Smith in the shotgun. Gives it to Parks right up the middle. Trying to muscle his way into the end zone. He's taken down right at the 1-yard line. A semi-productive run for Parks. A powerful run for Parks.
Yeah, Parks is one of those guys for this Fordham team. One of those running backs that just is so strong. He's one of their, probably their power back, their strongest back, and he just puts his head down and bulldozes there.
Final minute counting down on this 3rd quarter. Gunnar Smith, another play, gives it to Parks. Same play inside zone. I'm not sure if he got it. Hands are up for the Fordham offense, but there's no clear sign made yet. I believe he's down.
He looks to be at about the 6-inch line, Chris.
They're going to try and push it. Push formation for the Rams on the 1. They snap it. Believe they're going to call a false start here.
Flag is down on the play.
Fordham maybe doesn't get the treatment Philadelphia Eagles get. It's going to be a foul on the defense. That's going to be half the distance to the goal. It's still going to remain 3rd down. Fordham getting bailed out a little bit there.
They move about 3 inches closer there too, Chris.
Another push set up. They snap it. They shove in, and he's in. A push from behind eventually gets Gunnar Smith over the line and gets Fordham on the scoreboard, 24-7.
Perfect form on the push. You have Gunnar Smith, who's a strong runner, strong quarterback, pushing with his legs. And then you have Jaden Allen behind him, the strong tight end, giving it his all as well. So it's able to get the touchdown, and now Fordham faced with the 2-point conversion as well.
Gunnar Smith shoved into the end zone by his peers, and Fordham getting on the scoreboard. They're going to go for 2 here. No extra point. As Brendan said, this can go from a 4-possession game to a 3-possession game with some extra point tries or 2-point conversion tries. So that's what the Fordham Rams will do. Fordham Rams set up on the 2. Smith back to pass in the shotgun. Throws it over the middle, caught by Parks. Fordham converting the 2-point. Now within 2 possessions, once again, 24-8. Oh, and there's a flag, a holding penalty on the Fordham offensive line. Definitely kills the momentum for this Fordham team, and it's going to move them back if they want to try it again.
And a beautiful play call on that one. Beautiful play design. You motion Jaden Allen, sees zone. You hit a soft spot in that zone to Ricky Parks, and it was a beautiful play call. But with the hold on the offensive line, now you're faced with a 2-point try from over 10 yards, Chris.
Yeah, over 10 yards on this 2-point try Ball's at the 14-yard line. Smith in the shotgun. 3 receivers stacked to the right. Smith fakes the handoff, looks right, throws it. Benton blanketed all over by a cornerback. There's a penalty from the cornerback. Cornerback a little too handsy with Benton as he was making the slant. Couldn't make the catch, but also committed a penalty.
Yeah, that one's going to go for PI there on the defense. Benton runs a slant route and has maybe a foot of separation, but the defensive back just gets there a tad early and is on his back as Benton tries to catch this.
So Fordham pushed back after the holding call on the 2-point, and now they're pushed back up for the 2-point. So it'll be their 3rd time trying the 2-point conversion.
It's the first time for everything, Chris.
Truly. So now the Rams set up, I believe at the 3-yard line. Is it the 2-yard line, Brendan?
The 2-yard line,
yeah,
yes.
Set up at the 2-yard line. Smith. Ricky Parks directly to his right. Smith in the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. He's got Jaden Allen, the tight end, playing fullback in the backfield. Smith moving Parks to his left. Takes the snap. Claps for the snap. Smith trying to evade pressure, and he fumbles! A fumble from Smith. Lehigh picking it up and running, finally taken down. It was Peltekian who picked it up and started running. Smith fumbling that one, and an unsuccessful 2-point conversion for the Rams.
Yeah, Lehigh brought pressure here. You have a free blitzer who gets to Gunnar Smith. Smith almost evades the sack there, gives him a little juke move, and the rusher barely gets a hold of Gunnar, but one hand as he's making the tackle, punches that ball out of Gunnar's hand. Fantastic job by Freeburg to be able to chase down Peltekian with that ball.
Lehigh killing all momentum that Fordham had with converting that 2-point and getting that touchdown. It seems like all of that is gone now.
Yeah, a lot of momentum that was gained there. I mean, you didn't lose all of it from this 2-point try, but if Lehigh's able to go down and put together a solid drive, then I think all momentum is going to be in Lehigh's favor.
Lehigh definitely with all the momentum now, 24-6 after the failed 2-point conversion, 15 seconds to go in this long 3rd quarter. And an out-of-bounds kickoff for the Rams. These two teams going back and forth, committing penalties on the opening kickoff. That one, like the last kickoff for Lehigh, out of bounds and will cause a 10-yard penalty for the Rams defensively.
And Chris, this is what we talked about, the little mistakes spiraling and causing more little mistakes. They snowball. They end up in all the unanswered points here. You had the 2-point try that was with the penalty. Then you get to another 2-point try because of the pass interference, the fumble. Then you have the kick out of bounds. It's all adding up right now.
Bennett Henderson not helping out his team with that one. And Lehigh will start on the 35, similarly to Fordham. 15 seconds left to go in this 3rd quarter. Johnson in the backfield. Gives the snap to Yoder. Yoder right up the middle. And that'll be 3 or 4 yards on the gain, setting up 2nd down.
Good job by Andrew Osmond, taking on a block, setting the edge on that one, and bringing Yoder down.
That's it for 3 quarters here in the Bronx at Moglia Stadium. Lehigh with a 24-6 lead over the hosting Fordham Rams. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill Studios for another one-on-one scoreboard update with Anthony Smith. Take it over, Ant.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Thanks, guys. Let's get some more score updates for the Patriot League. The Georgetown Hoyas with the road victory against the Bucknell Bison. The Hoyas win 31-24, picking up their 2nd win against a Patriot League opponent. The loss puts the Bison just under 500 on the season. Holy Cross taking care of business against Colgate in Worcester, Massachusetts. Crusaders up 28-16 over the Raiders with under 2 to play in the 3rd. Switching over to the ice now, the New Jersey Devils off to a hot start this year with a win last night against the San Jose Sharks. It was a 3-1 victory with Dougie Hamilton putting 2 in the back of the net for New Jersey. The Devils are back in action tomorrow at 1 in the Prudential Center, playing one of the best teams in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche. The New York Islanders lose on the road in Philadelphia against the Flyers. The game entered a shootout after a scoreless overtime, a 4-3 win for the Flyers against the visiting Islanders. And the New York Rangers on a 2-day rest, getting yesterday and today off. The Blue Shirts try to erase their early season struggles, playing the Flames for an 8 p.m. puck drop tomorrow night. With your one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith on the update. Great as always, giving us a little bit of a flavor of the local puck happening today.
Great as always, Chris. You mentioned it. 2 weeks in a row now for him.
2 weeks in a row. One of our young rising stars at the station, Anthony Smith. Nonetheless, Fordham could use a bit of a rising star here with the last 15 minutes of play. The sun, as the hope of Fordham's team, has slightly dissipated as the afternoon has gone along. It's darker and darker here at Moglia Stadium. The day opened, it was as sunny as it could be.
Sunny, beautiful, warm. Now it's cloudy. No, doesn't look like it's going to be raining at all, but cloudy. The sun's hidden. It's cooled off a little bit. Kind of like this Fordham team.
Kind of like this Fordham team. 15 minutes left to play in this game. A fourth quarter of play left. 24-6 lead for this Lehigh team. Lehigh, since halftime, has asserted their dominance and made this gap between these two teams bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I mean, this game, it's just it's a tale of two halves, Chris. It really is. You look at that first half and how closely this game was played, where Fordham had multiple opportunities in opposing territory. Lehigh as the same, but it seems in this half that Lehigh has kind of had their way with the Fordham defense.
24 points. They had 10 points going into halftime. A low-scoring first half for this Lehigh team. They've done such a good job in first halves of games this season. Fordham not really taking advantage of that slow start that Lehigh gave them. It seemed like a bit of a gift.
It did seem like a bit of a gift that the 7-0 team towards the top of the conference comes in and has probably one of their worst first halves offensively of the season, and it's something obviously you would hope to take advantage of. Just Fordham unable to do that today and have a little bit of a hill to climb in the fourth quarter.
Lehigh gave those numbers earlier on their team after the bye. They've done a good job after the bye, especially in this second half.
Especially defensively as well. They've done a great job getting to Gunnar Smith.
This drive will start on this drive will continue on the 41. Johnson, a little QB run, designed QB run, gets the first down, but nothing more, just at the first down marker.
Yeah, strong run there, and that's what we can kind of expect to see from Lehigh throughout the quarter, but especially in this drive is just reminiscent of that first half drive where they went down and scored. We can expect to see them run the ball on almost every play here.
First down from Hayden Johnson there, the quarterback. 1st and 10, ball on their own 45-yard line, just before the 50. Johnson once again in the shotgun, Yoder to his left. 2 receivers stacked on his left, 1 receiver to his right. Tight end motioning to the left side. And a handoff. Handoff there only gets around 2 to 3 yards. I think it might have been a read option, but that'll lead to third down.
Sam Burkle, the first one, the first guy there, ends up making the tackle, wrapping up at the line of scrimmage. And this Fordham defensive line, obviously, you know what this Lehigh team wants to come out and do this drive. They're doing a good job reacting to it so far.
Second down, no gain on the first play. 2nd and 10, still at the 45, their own 45. Johnson in the shotgun for the Mountain Hawks. Takes the snap, drops back, looks to throw it deep, and he has a receiver. Was he in bounds? Humphrey over the shoulder grab on the far sideline. I believe it's incomplete.
That's a great catch by Humphrey. He just doesn't get his feet in bounds. The throw was great, a back shoulder throw on that fade ball, but Johnson just led him out of bounds. He wasn't able to get his feet in.
Jamil takes a lot of the headlines for this Mountain Hawks wide receiver room. It seems Humphrey has had some of the best plays of the game so far.
Yeah, and Humphrey's their deep threat guy, has the highest yards per catch on the team.
We've seen 3 or 4 attempts to find him deep. Johnson in the shotgun. 3rd and 10. Drops back, evades pressure. Cloudy Robinson can't get him. Rolling out left. Now becoming a runner, eventually going out of bounds at the 45. And that'll be a holding call in the backfield. There's a flag down right where the backfield was.
Yeah, Chris, likely a holding call. It was thrown where that offensive line was as Johnson was scrambling. I would imagine this is a hold, and I would also imagine that Fordham would decline the penalty.
Yeah, penalty is declined. Good call there, Brendan. And that'll be 4th down. You get them 3 and out, Brendan. You really don't want to then keep them back on the field. You'd rather just decline.
Decline, don't give him another chance to pick it up. Go get the ball back.
And now Lehigh going to punt it back off. Connor Poole to punt it. He's standing at his own 30-yard line. It'll be kicked off high and spiraling. That one will be caught right around the 10-yard line by Jack Freeburg. That'll be a fair catch. Fordham will take over.
Yeah, Fordham taking over at their own 10. Not the most ideal field position for them, but at this point, you take what you can get. A big drive here. They need points. At this point in the game, any drive you don't score points is a disappointment.
And bringing it more generally, has it been a disappointing game today?
Disappointing in the way where we've, in terms of missed opportunities, I would say. We've seen, obviously, the 2-point conversion on the last touchdown. No good, a missed opportunity there. You had a couple of drives in the first half. You have the missed field goal. You have 2 4th and 1s that they have failed to convert on in that first half in opponent territory, whereas those kind of opportunities, there's 4 right there that I just named, missed opportunities that if you're able to convert on either of those 4th down conversions, if you're able to make that 51-yard field goal, this game might be looking a little different.
Yeah, there's been a few opportunities for this Fordham team to be in the game. Obviously, expectations coming into this game make it harder to feel disappointed about this sort of result, but that shouldn't be factored into how you're thinking about this game. This game, very different than how anybody thought it would be.
Very different
Even
than
if
how
the scoreboard looks maybe similar to what people would have thought.
Yeah, and that's kind of, we've already mentioned it, Chris, that's what we've seen a lot of from this Fordham team is maybe the scoreboard doesn't fully represent what happened in the game and how close that game actually was. And if Fordham can go down and put more points on the scoreboard, then maybe that's not the case this game. But as of right now, I would say this game is a lot closer than that scoreboard really does show.
And what specifically are the things Lehigh has done down the stretch in this second half to further themselves from Fordham? Obviously, you've mentioned the defense.
Well, I think it's also that they've been passing the ball efficiently, whereas we saw in the first half they were very good with the run, but come out in the second half and you already know that run game is a threat, but with them being able to pass the ball effectively in this second half, whereas we saw their last touchdown drive came through that long pass down the middle where Johnson got crushed, but their ability to pass it opened everything up.
Yeah, their ability to pass has been there all afternoon long. It's been consistent. Fordham has been able to pass the ball, but it's only been on certain drives. Certain drives, they look very efficient, and on others, they really don't.
Yeah, and it's something that this Fordham team has been focusing on is that consistency, and it's both an offensive and a defensive issue so far this season.
Ball on the 10. 1st and 10 for the Rams. Gunnar Smith in the shotgun. 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Ricky Parks directly to his left in the backfield. Now shifting to his right. Smith claps for the snap. Gives the handoff to Parks. Parks with a lot of room. Ends up getting a few yards. He'll be down around the 15-yard line. Call it 5 yards on the game.
Yeah, Chris, you do still have to keep this defense on and show them that you are still willing to run the ball if they don't respect it and put people in the box.
So 2nd and 4 after that. 2nd and 4 after that play. Ball on the 16-yard line. Smith discussing with his running back directly to his left in the shotgun. Now motioning Parks out wide. Smith takes the snap and throws it on the far sideline. It's complete. Complete catch right before the first down marker, and that makes the 3rd down a whole lot easier.
Yeah, just get 1 first down, see if you can get the chains moving, see if you can get the ball rolling here. So this Fordham offense is going for.
Ball now out to the 20. 1st down for the Rams.
1st and 10 at the 20.
Smith in the shotgun. New set of downs. Smith, phantom clap, receives the snap, drops back, looks deep to pass, has a receiver wide open, and the pass just out of his reach. Incomplete pass, a really disappointing incomplete pass.
Noden Tracy, the guy there, he is wide open, running a crossing route from left to right. Gunnar Smith aims to hit him on the numbers, just hoping Tracy will take that route a little more upfield, but Tracy kind of flattens it out. The two just not on the same page.
After that play, 2nd and 10. Ball still on the 20, Fordham's own 20. Jaden Allen going from right to left, motioning on the line. Smith, fake handoff, rolls out right. Looks deep, finds a man in the middle. The same spot, and he's on the run. Ben, past the 30, now at the 20, still moving, finally taken down, past the 10. What a play by Benton, wide open in the middle of the field. Almost the exact same play that they just incompleted.
Gunnar Smith again making a play. It's a play-action bootleg. You have Gunnar Smith rolling right. You have Benton as the trail guy going left to right. The guy furthest back towards the middle. Gunnar Smith goes through his progressions, ends up at Benton wide open, and so many yards after the catch.
Benton brings the Rams to 1st and goal, 8 yards to the goal line. 1st and 8. Smith gives the handoff. Jamel James going through the middle, trying to power his way through. Probably gets 2 yards on that play, and it'll set up 2nd and goal.
Yeah, just trying to establish the run down the goal line. We said it before, Chris. You have to be able to run the ball effectively down here. You need this defense to respect that run so that they're not double teaming guys on the outside.
Clock still moving, 11 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. 2nd and 7 for the Rams. Right at the goal line, Fordham trying to get their 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. Smith in the shotgun. Jamel James to his right. Fakes the handoff, looks to throw. In the middle of the pocket, he's swallowed. Gunnar Smith had a circle of protection, and that circle went away quickly.
Yeah, Chris, that one's a coverage sack there. The coverage on the back end with these defensive backs for Lehigh just so good. Gunnar Smith has nowhere to go with the ball, and that just gives this defensive line time to get home.
After the sack, it'll be 9 yards to the goal line for the Rams. 3rd down, 3rd and goal. Gunnar Smith looking at his sideline for play calling. Jaden Allen set up on the left side of the offensive line. Receivers on both sides. 2 receivers on the right, 1 on the left. Smith clapping. Snaps back. Looks in the left corner of the end zone, then moves to the left corner. Makes a pass just before the end zone to Jamel James. They're around the 3-yard line after that completion, and that'll set up a more manageable 4th down.
That one full-on scramble drill as Gunnar Smith is moving out of structure, scrambling left. You have Jamel James following with him, sitting at that sideline right by the pylon. Great catch and great way to hold on to it as getting hit as soon as he touches it.
4th and goal for the Rams at the 2-yard line. 2 yards to score for Gunnar Smith and his Rams. Gunnar in the shotgun. Jamel James to his right. Smith receives the snap. Drops back. Throws it in the end zone. Incomplete. A lot of contact surrounding Jabril Carter, but incomplete nonetheless. And Fordham will turn it over on downs after that 4th down.
Yeah, just a simple concept here. Jabril Carter on the slant. The receiver out of the slot. Troy Worrell on a corner route. Gunnar Smith looks for Jabril Carter on that slant. It's just blanketed. Nowhere to go with that one.
Nowhere to go with that one, and Lehigh will take over once again. Another disappointing trip down the field for the Rams that didn't end up in anything productive.
Yeah, Chris, we talked about it already. Missed opportunities here. Another 4th down, failed conversion for the Fordham Rams.
Another failed conversion for the Fordham Rams. That one may be the biggest of the game so far. Fordham defense going out there, but I believe we're going to get a timeout instead. 9:21 to go in this 4th quarter. Lehigh still with a 24-6 lead over the hosting Fordham Rams. Me, Chris Carrino, and Brendan Shorey will be right back after this break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hey Devils fans, Tucker Austin here from WFUV Sports, one of your New Jersey Devils beat reporters for the 2025-26 season. From Hughes Brothers Havoc to Heischer Hat Tricks and Markstrom Masterclasses, I'll have you covered live from the Prudential Center for all things Jersey hockey. Follow me on X at @T_Austin_24, where I'll have live game updates, analysis, and post-game coverage all season long as the Black and Red look to bring Lord Stanley back to the Rock. WFUV Sports is your home for everything New Jersey Devils.
Back here in the beautiful Bronx, more specifically Moglia Stadium on the campus of Fordham University. We're in full-fledged fall now. The beautiful colored trees all around the field. Not as beautiful as the performance from Lehigh today. Lehigh has truly been special. A little bit of a slow first half, but the way they've responded in the second half, it's truly been special.
Yeah, and Chris, I guess this is where the bye week kind of factors in and how they've been coming off bye weeks is maybe, you have a week off, you're not playing, you're not knocking people around, so you just take a minute to kind of get back into the swing of things. Started a little slow, but it seems like now in this second half they've gotten right back up to speed.
After the goal line stand from Lehigh's defense, Lehigh's offense will take over deep in Fordham territory, or deep in their own territory. They'll start at the Lehigh 2-yard line. 98 yards to go to the goal line. 9:21 to go in this fourth quarter. Johnson in the shotgun, standing in the end zone. Got Green to his left. In the running back position.
1st and 10 at the 2.
3 receivers out wide. Johnson receives the snap. Runs it up the middle. Green finds a hole. Gets it out eventually to the 5. Around 3 yards on that pickup. And that gets them out of the danger zone around the end zone.
Yeah, you mentioned the danger zone. As a team backed up here, the last thing you can do is take a sack, take a safety, and give Fordham any hope. So they do a good job getting a few yards, picking those up, and making it way easier.
Also, Lehigh, they want to keep the ball, they want to keep the clock moving as well. Obviously, they have a large lead. They can keep this clock running nonstop pretty much for the next couple minutes.
Yeah, and obviously Fordham has all 3 timeouts, but that is the ultimate goal, keep the clock running.
It's now 2nd and 7 after the 3-yard gain. Ball on the 5-yard line. Johnson in the shotgun. Green directly to his left. Receivers on both sides. Hand off to Green once again. To the left side. Gets a couple yards on that one. It'll set up a 3rd and short for Lehigh.
Great job there by Nate Lindsey-Gill. He sets the edge for this Fordham defense. He doesn't let them get outside. Doesn't let Green get outside. He forces him back inside.
3rd and 4. Ball on the 8-yard line.
3rd and 4. At the 8.
Johnson and the rest of his offense setting up some substitutions as well. Now set up in the shotgun, Yoder to his left. 2 receivers on the right, 1 receiver on the left. Johnson in the shotgun. Johnson takes the snap, 3-step drop, looks to go deep, has the receiver open, it's caught! Joffrey Jamil on that far sideline. A massive grab for Lehigh past the 30, and he got more than 25 yards on that play.
And a great catch there by Jamil. He knows as soon as he catches this ball, he is going to be hit, and he is. But fantastic job holding on to it, going down, and taking that first down.
Yeah, that's a real mental liquidity to know you're about to get hit and still make that grab as best you can.
It is. It's a very tough aspect of the game.
1st and 10 after the big play. Ball on the 32. Johnson waits for the snap, then receives it. Handoff right up the middle to Yoder. Yoder will get about a yard on the play. That'll keep the clock moving, and it'll start the set of downs for Lehigh.
So, Chris, these 3rd downs on this drive are going to be very interesting. We just saw one where they threw the ball, but from Lehigh's perspective, you're up 18. That's 3 possessions. You can risk throwing an incompletion and stopping the clock, or even if it's 3rd and long, you run the ball, you keep the clock moving, and you force Fordham to either take a timeout or eat 40 seconds of that clock.
Over 2 minutes of the clock has already been chewed out by this drive. Drive started at 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. We're at 6:38. Johnson receives the snap in the shotgun, gives it to Yoder once again. He'll bounce it out to the right side. Eventually has a D lineman on him like a backpack, taking him down, and that'll lead to 3rd down.
Claudia Robinson, the backpack on that play, Chris, all over Yoder, is able to bring him down. And another 3rd and kind of long here, 3rd and about 7, so another interesting decision.
3rd and 7 for Lehigh, big 3rd down for Lehigh. Can Fordham get the stop? Andrew Osman, James Conway standing over that defensive line menacingly. 3rd and 7, ball on the Lehigh 35. 5:57 and counting. Johnson in the shotgun. 3 receivers to his left. Green to his right. Drops back to pass. Looks deep. Tries to find Humphrey, and he does! Another mossing play from Humphrey. This guy might as well be Randy Moss. Another catch on the helmet of a defender, and that gets Lehigh up the field way past the 50. Another huge play.
Humphrey has been so good all season long at these deep routes, these fades down the sideline, jump balls. That is what he is there for. That is what he is so good at, and they've been going to him time and time again today, and he has delivered time and time again.
Clock continues to run. 5:19 to go in this fourth quarter. 1st and 10. Ball on the Fordham 37 now. What a play from Johnson and Humphrey. Quite a connection today. Johnson keeps it on the read option, and he's running. past the 25, finally pushed out of bounds at the 20. Aiden Johnson continuing to prove he's not only a weapon with his arm, he's a weapon with his legs as well.
Yeah, and it's something that I think this Fordham defense has kind of almost forgotten about. He hasn't run the ball in quite a bit, and now going out there, running that ball, picking up the first down, just showing off his speed on this play.
4:45 and counting on this fourth quarter. The clock continues to bleed. 24-6 still, Lehigh lead. 1st and 10. Ball exactly on the 20-yard line. Johnson in the shotgun. Green right behind him. Takes the snap, hands it to Green. Green will run right, eventually taken down before the line of scrimmage. Nice play there from the Fordham defense. But that clock continues to run, Brendan.
And Chris, another example here, this Fordham defensive line today hasn't really been allowing the offensive line to reset the line of scrimmage down the field. They've been getting pushed, and they've been shedding blocks and making tackles in the backfield. Another example of that right there on that play.
One of the things we talked about earlier, how much trouble this Fordham team had on 3rd down. Had a lot of success on 4th down this season. Haven't seen much of that today. 0 for 3 on 4th down for the Fordham offense. Another thing contributing to the problems Fordham's had this afternoon. That one will be a fake handoff. Johnson rolling out left, finds Jamil, and he'll be taken down after a little bit of a shoving match with Alex Kemper, and that'll get them right inside the 10.
Chris, an interesting decision there. Throwing the ball on 2nd down, this Lehigh offense has their foot on the gas, and they are not letting up.
Not letting up at all. 3:30 and counting on this game clock, the fourth quarter clock of this game. As I said, 9 minutes to go when this drive started. So 5.5 minutes bleeded off the clock in this Lehigh drive.
They are milking the clock right now, and Fordham is not going to have any time at all to go back down the field.
3:09 and counting. 1st and 10. Ball on the 10. 1st and goal for Lehigh. Johnson dropping back to pass. Throws it in the end zone. Jamil catches it right before the goal line. They said it's a catch, an acrobatic catch, and they'll be right on the 1-yard line.
Very, very impressive catch there by Jamil. Whether it was his knee or his foot, some part of his body hit a fraction of a second before the rest of his body came down out of bounds. There is a flag on the field right now, though, Chris.
What do you think that is?
It was thrown in the secondary. I can only imagine. Well, 12 men on the defense.
12 men on the defense declined by Lehigh. And they'll reset.
And they are now down at the 2-yard line, Chris. Knocking on the door.
Down to the 2-yard line, definitely knocking at the door. Also making a ton of substitutions right now. Around 6 or 7 substitutions, including their quarterback, Matt Mahalik. And Mahalik is now the man commanding this offense. Johnson off the field completely.
Mahalik also a threat to run here, Chris.
Yeah, Mahalik in the shotgun. And keeps it himself. Runs it to the left side of the line, trying to power his way. Around 4 or 5 Fordham defenders tackle him. That'll be a loss of about a yard, I think, or no loss.
Yeah, they go straight quarterback power, take the snap, follow the pulling guard from right to left. Fordham defense plays this one well, is able to meet Mahalik in the hole.
That sets up 3rd down. Sets up 2nd down. That's going to be the 2-minute warning as the final second ticks off there. 2-minute warning here in the Bronx at Moglia Stadium. Lehigh on the door, on the precipice of scoring once again. 24-6 Lehigh lead over the Fordham Rams. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Diaz.
And I'm Mary Hannah Gallagher.
And we're the hosts of All In, a women's sports podcast.
On All In, we discuss everything women's sports, from the WNBA, the AUSL, and NWSL.
No matter the sport, we have you covered.
You can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
Check them out at
Around 58 degrees here in the Bronx. Without the sun, the weather has gotten a little colder around here in the Bronx. 24-6, 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Chris Carrino joined by Brendan Shorey here in the Bronx at Fordham University. It has not been an easy day for Fordham, and it has been a really easy second half for Lehigh.
Chris, the weather today, we've already mentioned it, but the weather today is the perfect idea, the perfect replica of what Fordham has looked like today. It was sunny at the start of the game. There were bright, there were lots of hopes, high hopes for this game.
It's Parents' Weekend. There's people all over the place.
And then the sun goes away. It becomes a little gloomy almost, just like kind of this Fordham football team and their performance today. What started out very strong against a very good Lehigh team has kind of snowballed, and now they're facing a 18-point deficit with their backs to the wall and Lehigh knocking on the door.
2 minutes to go in this matchup. Regardless of the product on the field, Fordham still keeping a wholesome vibe today with the family weekend festivities. Me and Brendan both have roommates out tailgating today. We have a few roommates down here in the stands as well. We have a 10-year-old without his tarp that Brendan is getting a kick out of right now in the stands. It's just been an overall wholesome day here at Fordham University.
It has been a wholesome day. It's Parents' Weekend. It's Family Weekend. There's always going to be good vibes attached to that, Chris.
Let's see if Lehigh can continue their good vibes here. 3rd and 3. After the 2-minute warning. 3rd and 3, ball on the 3. 3 minutes to the 3 yards to the goal line. Johnson in the shotgun, motioning Jamil from left to right. Johnson now rolling out right, trying to find Jamil. He's not open, ends up getting pushed out of bounds for a major loss of yards. Good play there defensively for the Rams. That time it was Drew Minnick.
Yeah, the Rams are in zone coverage here, and they're trying to get Jamil running out to the flat, but you have the corner out there, just jumps that route. Nothing's open. Johnson almost attempts some sort of jump throw there, but decides to smartly hold on to it and keep it.
Now it's going to be 4th and 5, another kick for Lehigh. 1:54 and counting on the fourth quarter clock.
22-yard attempt. The kick is good.
And it's good. Good field goal for Lehigh. They extend their lead. It's now a 21-point lead, 3-touchdown lead for Lehigh. Lehigh continuing to be productive on each of their offensive possessions, regardless of the luck they're getting or the big plays that they have.
Yeah, especially in the second half. We've seen a completely different game, a completely different Lehigh team. They've just been so effective, so efficient out there on the field and kind of getting it done however it takes, whatever it takes, whether it's throwing the ball, running the ball, but points again on another long Lehigh drive.
And Brendan, you've seen now a decent amount of the Patriot League this season. You've done almost every game this season. Thinking about Lehigh's rest of their year, how do you think they stack up when it comes to the top of the Patriot League? Are they the top of the Patriot League?
Chris, I think they are, to be completely honest. I think they are the top of the Patriot League. I mean, the rushing attack is the foundation of this team, and with a running attack so good just like that, and then you look at their defense, a defense that gets after the quarterback so well, has a fantastic linebacking unit. I think they are the blueprint for what teams should be trying to emulate, and I think they should be considered the top of the Patriot League.
Kickoff from Connor Poole, and it'll be a fair catch on the other side of the field for the Rams, and they'll start on the 25.
Yeah, a minute 50 to go, Chris. Down 3 possessions. The game is unofficially over. But
what's the productive things that can still happen right now with the time they have? It's invaluable. It's you can't put a price on real football, on real time, game time. You know what I mean? You could scrimmage, you could do walkthroughs, but this time in the game, regardless if the game is over, is very important.
Listen, it's always to get your guys more reps, get them fine-tune some things, but you also want this drive to go down, be successful, and carry momentum into next week.
Absolutely. Smith back to pass. Throws it over the middle. It's caught. Nice catch behind him. Ball was slightly behind the wide receiver. Still made the grab. That was Jack Freeberg. It'll be a 1st and 10, or it'll be a 2nd down now after the completion.
And Fordham's going to go quick here. Just try and get as many plays as possible in.
Smith dropping back to pass once again. thrown over the middle. Not enough air on that one. It hits the turf before the intended receiver, Jabril Carter, and that'll set up third down.
Another time here, another play where Gunnar Smith senses pressure and is rushed in his throw, and he ends up getting hit when throwing it, but the continued pressure from this Lehigh defensive line has gotten to Gunnar Smith.
Fordham trying to hold on to the ball. 3rd and 8. Ball on their own 27-yard line. Smith in the shotgun. Ricky Parks directly to his left. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Smith clapping for the snap. A phantom clap, then a real one. Fake handoff. Drops back. Long throw. A bit of miscommunication there between Jack Freeberg and Gunnar Smith. Gunnar threw the streak route, and unfortunately Jack Freeberg was running a comeback route.
Yeah, the two just aren't on the same page in this situation. You said it perfectly, Chris. Gunnar was expecting a go route there from Freeberg. Freeberg kind of settling down, hoping to come back and catch that ball while coming back. Just not on the same page. It's going to fall incomplete, and it looks like Fordham content to punt this one away and let Lehigh run the clock out.
Yeah, another punt, unfortunately. Fortunately, it's WFUV's own Dominic Sansone ready to kick it off. Sansone standing right before the 15-yard line at the 13-yard line, ready to kick this one off. Peltekian was back to get it, ends up going out of bounds right around the 30. A massive kick for Dominic Sansone. Done a good job all afternoon.
A beautiful spiraling punt, too. He's so good at that, and you look at kind of the state of this Fordham special teams unit. Will Hazlitt's a senior. Their starting punter, he's a senior, and this looks like it's going to be his last year here, and Dom Sansone looks like he could be the guy to take over after Hazlitt is relieved of his duties.
1:13 to go in the fourth quarter. 27-6. Lehigh still leads. They now have the ball. Wouldn't be too crazy to assume that they kneel this one out.
It looks like they are in victory formation from the shotgun.
As Brendan said, Johnson in the shotgun, ready to kneel this one out. Running backs on both sides of him, and that's victory formation for Lehigh. The Mountain Hawks stay undefeated, now 8-0 on the season, and this game, another testament to how fantastic of a season they've had.
Yeah, it's another testament. They move now, you mentioned it, 8-0 now, 3-0 in conference play. They're tied with Lafayette sitting atop the Patriot League at this point, and it's just another win in their already fantastic season.
Fordham falls to 1-3 at home on the season, 1-7 overall, and 1-3 in the conference. Another kneel down, and that's it for us here at Moglia Stadium. That'll be the final. 27-6 Lehigh, a statement win after the bye, and they continue to assert their dominance over the rest of the Patriot League.
Yeah, they do. They keep making a case for that Patriot League title, and not just that, but looking on to bigger things as well at FCS playoff spot and making a run there as well.
That's it for us here at Moglia Stadium. We're going to catch up with us in a few moments during the post-game report. We're going to send it back to the Rose Hill Studios for the one-on-one post-game report with Anthony Smith and Tucker Austin. The final from Moglia Stadium, 27-6. Lehigh defeats the hosting Fordham Rams. Thank you all for listening, and have a great night.
The one-on-one post-game report.
And welcome back inside the Rose Hill studio. Tucker Austin and Anthony Smith with you. Thanks to Chris and Brendan for a great broadcast. We're going to bring them in a second, but before we get into all of our post-game housekeeping, we've got one more one-on-one scoreboard update with Anthony Smith. Take it away, Anthony.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Thanks, Tucker. One last Patriot League update. Colgate starting to mount a comeback against Holy Cross, down 28-23 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Let's go through some top 25 activity now. Number 8 ranked Ole Miss gets it done on the road to take down number 13 ranked Oklahoma. The Rebels QB Trinidad Chambliss had a field day, throwing for over 300 yards and running for over 50. He leads the Rebels to the win and hands the Sooners their second loss of the season. And another SEC contest in full swing between Missouri and Vanderbilt. Scoreless tie with 5 to go in the first. Now let's preview some NFL football in the Big Apple. The New York Jets Visiting the Cincinnati Bengals, still trying to find themselves in the win column. Justin Fields is getting the start for the Jets, with Tyrod Taylor being ruled out with a knee injury. Kickoff at 1 o'clock tomorrow in Paycor Stadium. And the New York Giants heading down to Philadelphia after last week's heartbreaking loss. The Giants trying to get back on track with a matchup against the Eagles. New York is looking to sweep Philly for the first time since 2007. Kickoff also set for 1 o'clock tomorrow. With your one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Anthony Smith.
Thanks very much, Anthony, for that final one-on-one scoreboard update. Now to bring in our broadcasters from today's game. The Lehigh Mountain Hawks defeating the Fordham Rams 27-6. And guys, first off, I want to say great broadcast. You guys sounded great from our end in the studio. First question to both of you guys. We talked about, me and Anthony did, we talked about protection for the quarterback at halftime and about Fordham's offensive line and how they've really struggled to give Gunnar Smith the protection that he needs this year. How big of an impact did Lehigh's defensive front have in pressuring Gunnar Smith in today's game?
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Lehigh defensive line. They came into the game with 21 sacks on the year, one of the best defensive lines in the conference, and they showed it today. They really did get after Gunnar Smith, and it's not just sacks. Like, they did get some sacks on Gunnar Smith, but you also have to factor in the pressures and the hurries and how often Gunnar Smith got hit after throwing the ball, and I think they definitely did get to him in those ways a majority of the plays out there, and I think that really does kind of get you as a quarterback, and towards the end of the game, after getting hit so much, it really does start to mess with your mental a little bit.
And on the other side, Hayden Johnson only been sacked twice this entire year. This offensive line of Lehigh only given up 2 sacks the entire year. There was a real difference between the two offensive lines, and that might have been the difference in the game.
Hey guys, first want to say again, like Tucker said, great broadcast. We've mentioned Fordham's offensive consistency throughout the year. Obviously, Lehigh's defense playing a factor here today, but what was really missing from this Fordham offense that only led them to putting 6 points on the board?
Yeah, Anthony, I think it's something we've been talking about for weeks. It's the establishment of the run game. When this Fordham team can establish their run game, they do what they did in the Holy Cross game. Over 160 yards on the ground in that one, they won it. And then when they don't establish the run in games like this, it completely takes away maybe 66% of what they can do offensively, or what they can do against defenses that they're playing. It seems establishing the run game is something we talked about with Joe Conlon. Seems to be one of his biggest stresses to the team, but doesn't seem to be something that's sticking. I don't know if it's an offensive line or a running back problem. I think it's maybe a little bit of both.
And you know what that leads to is it leads to 3rd and long. It's getting behind the sticks, and that is why this team has not been very good at converting 3rd downs this year. It's because a majority of these 3rd downs that they're facing are 3rd and 8 or longer, which if you look at the probability of going out and converting those, it's not very high. You can only expect to convert maybe 25-30% of those 3rd and longs, which is what this team has been facing all year. So not being able to establish the run game, it snowballs. It leads to 3rd and longs. It leads to having to punt the ball away and have your defense on the field for a lot of the game.
And guys, on the flip side, the defense for Fordham really came to play in the first half. Second half, it kind of got away from them a little bit, but they still came up with a pretty big stop after a long 95-yard drive to force another field goal. The game was already out of hand at that point, but still, I think it shows a little bit of the gumption of the defense to really continue to play hard throughout the entire game. I want to ask you guys about one defensive player specifically, because James Conway is now the leading FCS tackler of all time. He's also the 3rd on the list for Division I tackles all time. How special has it been to see him go to work every game so far this season?
Well, it's funny, Tucker. This might be one of the only matchups of the year where James Conway might not be the most impressive Patriot League defender at the game. Matt Spatney was the Defensive Player of the Year preseason for the Patriot League. He was fantastic at the end for Lehigh today. But James Conway, as he has the whole year, garnered the headlines today. We mentioned it I'm sure you guys heard when the tackle was made. We made sure to have that and made sure to be paying attention to that as well. Such a ridiculous achievement. I mean, think about all the guys and all the linebackers specifically that have played in the FCS. He has more tackles than all of them. It's perplexing. It really is.
James Conway is one of a kind. He is a very special player, and that even puts it lightly. I talked to him at the Ram Roundup this week, and it was accomplishments. It was you lead the nation in tackles coming into this week. It was named a finalist for the Campbell Trophy, which is such a high honor in college football. And I already know I'm going to talk to him this next week as well, now being the career FCS tackles leader. But it just seems every week there's a new accomplishment that he is accomplishing. And he is just one of a kind.
And what he does for the team and the guys around him, specifically those linebackers, is so important. He's such a leader for this group. Guys like Osman, guys like Dawson who play behind him. He is so impactful, not only on the field for what he does on the stat sheet, but the leadership he brings to this Fordham squad.
Fantastic leader and a very humble guy as well.
Yeah, very humble.
Yeah, guys, we mentioned Lehigh coming in undefeated, being atop of the Patriot League. They continue their undefeated streak today with the 27-6 win. I just want, on my side, I feel like Fordham came in shooting themselves in the foot throughout this game. Just wanted to get your guys' personal thoughts. Maybe the scoreboard didn't show how close this game could have been if Fordham was able to capitalize on those crucial opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, Fordham went 0 for 3 on fourth down with a missed field goal as well. Those are some pretty big opportunities that were wasted, and all those fourth down conversions were in opponent territory. So they're already across the 50-yard line. They're putting together drives. They're knocking on the door, to say the least. But, you know, shooting themselves in the foot, they're not converting. They're turning the ball over, giving it right back to Lehigh in those situations. Listen, you can't be expected to make 100%, to convert 100% of those fourth downs, right? But as a team, it's 2 4th-and-1s and a 4th-and-2. Personally, I would expect you to convert at least 2 of those. And Fordham went 0 for 3.
And Anthony, it seems, and I was going to mention this earlier, it seems to me that this Fordham team takes for granted the early downs when they're on offense. A first down, a second down doesn't have that urgency that the third down does. It seems that they'll have a 1-yard gain on a run to start every down and distance, and that really, it hamstrings them from the beginning of the down and distance, and they put themselves at a disadvantage.
Well, Chris Carrino, Brendan Shorey, thank you guys so much for joining us on the post game. And, that just about does it for our interview today. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tucker. Thank you, Anthony. Fantastic work.
And now to get into some of the highlights from the second half of Fordham and Lehigh. To start the second half, Fordham got the ball but was forced to punt on their opening possession. Then in the ensuing possession for Lehigh, the Mountain Hawks went 8 plays and 80 yards in almost 4 minutes before Luke Yoder capped off the drive with a rushing touchdown from 7 yards away.
First and goal, 1st and 7 to the goal line. 8:28 to go in this third quarter. Johnson gives the snap to Yoder. Yoder gets in, touchdown Lehigh. Yoder breaks through on that far sideline and gets in, squeaks in right by the pylon for 6.
It was an even shorter drive for the Fordham Rams after that made the score 17-0. It was a 3-and-out from Fordham before Lehigh got great field position and then drove 45 yards in 6 plays. They called on Jaden Green's number this time for the 1-yard rushing touchdown.
Johnson in the shotgun, hands it off to Green. Green right up the middle. He's in. Touchdown. Green dives over the goal line and scores another touchdown for Lehigh with their legs.
That made the score 24-0 Lehigh after the extra point, but Fordham responded with their best drive of the afternoon to that point, 65 yards in 13 plays. Gunnar Smith finding the end zone on the tush push.
They snap it. They shove in, and he's in. A push from behind eventually gets Gunnar Smith over the line and gets Fordham on the scoreboard, 24-7.
Now, it would have made the score 24-7, but Fordham decided to go for 2, and they actually successfully converted the first attempt. It was called back for a holding penalty. Then their second attempt was failed, but a defensive pass interference led to a third 2-point conversion attempt that was also a failure due to a Gunnar Smith fumble. On the ensuing drive for Lehigh that went into the fourth quarter, the Rams forced their first punt of the second half. Then on the drive following that, Gunnar Smith and Jack Benton uncorked a 72-yard passing play, the longest play from scrimmage for either team in this game, but the drive unfortunately fell short at the Lehigh 2-yard line with an incompletion on fourth down. Lehigh took over from their own 2, drove 95 yards in 11 plays and bled over 7 minutes off the clock in the fourth quarter. Fordham would come up with a sack to force another field goal. That made it 27-6, which was the final. Now, Anthony, this was a really, really tough game for the Fordham Rams in terms of what you mentioned during the interview with our broadcasters, that they kind of shot themselves in the foot, but not necessarily in terms of the penalties. It was really more in terms of the execution and, like you said, the opportunities that they weren't able to cash in on in that first half.
A lot of crucial opportunities throughout that first half. Short third down and fourth down conversions. Usually when a team has a low amount of points, you see a lot of big third downs, more than 10-plus yards. But for this Fordham offense, they were faced with fourth downs and ones that they weren't able to convert. And it was just 2 times throughout that first half. Very important for how Fordham's offense performed, only putting 6 points on the board.
And it was really unfortunate to see sort of the defensive collapse that ensued in that second half as well, because the defense played really solid football in the first half, but then Lehigh came out of the halftime break and immediately put it in the end zone twice.
Almost like deja vu from last week with Dartmouth when there was 6-6 heading into that second half, and the wheels kind of started falling off for the Fordham defense. Weren't able to keep this going for the whole game. Wasn't a real whole team effort throughout the whole game. This game, kind of similar story, except Fordham's offense really didn't get as much going in the second half as they did last game, and it just ended in a 27-6 battle here.
And then we also talked about the protection a little bit with the guys post-game. Gunnar Smith wound up getting sacked 5 times, but of course that stat doesn't illustrate how many times, like Chris mentioned, that he was hurried or that he was hit after releasing the football. You can kind of look at the offensive line both for the protection to Gunnar Smith and for the run game a little bit as well, because the disparity on the ground between these two teams is really glaring. 158 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns through the rushing game for Lehigh. Meanwhile, Fordham picked up just the 1 rushing touchdown on the Gunnar Smith tush push and just 74 yards on the ground.
The offensive lines here from both teams played a big role in how the offenses performed today. We saw Gunnar Smith. He played a pretty good game considering that he was sacked 5 times, and obviously you mentioned that there's no real amount of stats for the pressures that he received, the amount of hits he received after getting rid of the ball. He faced a lot of damage here today. As for Lehigh, their offensive line came to reform. Johnson only sacked once, and their rushing game was a big part of the offense for them here today.
And so next week, the Fordham Rams are going to go on the road against the Richmond Spiders, and it's Richmond's first year in the Patriot League. They're 1-3 in the conference, 4-4 overall. How much of an opportunity is next week going to be for the Fordham Rams to try and bounce back? I mean, now that they're 1-4 in conference, or 1-3 in conference, excuse me, the Patriot League title kind of feels a little bit out of reach. But still, where can the Rams kind of find value in going after a win next week against Richmond?
I was going to mention that Richmond having this 1-3 Patriot League record. They're struggling so far in these conference games. They lost just last week to Holy Cross, a team that Fordham actually beat. Richmond, though, coming off a bye, could be crucial to how that game plays out next Saturday. But I think Fordham could really get back on track here with a win against Richmond. It just all depends on how this offense performs. They got to get more points going for them in the first half and just play a really consistent game through 4 quarters.
Yeah, yardage through the air was not too much of an issue, but finishing drives tended to be an issue. And then, of course, the old the old thing that keeps nagging at this Fordham team is that run game. We'll see if they can establish it next week. But that is just about going to do it for us on the postgame. Thanks so much for tuning into this WFUV Sports presentation of Fordham football. For our broadcasters, Chris Carrino and Brendan Shorey, Anthony Smith on updates, our highlights crew, Sam Jean-Grande and Maggie Danahy, Emma Leonardi, our engineer, Joe Henry, our sports manager and producer this afternoon. And as always, for our sports director, Bobby Chaffardini, I am Tucker Austin saying so long from the Rose Hill studio until next Saturday afternoon when the Fordham Rams take on the Richmond Spiders in Virginia. Once again, the final today, the Lehigh Mountain Hawks 27, the Fordham Rams 6. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming on 90.7 FM WFUV.